Hello and welcome to the DPC SEA region, where we are here in the studios of PGL here in Bucharest, getting into day 2 of these matches. Yesterday we had a couple of interesting and exciting series, and today hopefully will be no different, as we just have the one game coming up. My name is Nomad, and joining me on this panel today is Lacoste and Lizard to take us through all of the action. Guys, how are you doing today?
Feeling good, you know. I like that we are switching things up, a little bit of China, a little bit of Southeast Asia, you know, for things not to get boring, but really hyped up for some of these matches. Like the series today looks, both of these teams are like close qualifier teams, so I think this might be the first series that goes to full Game 3.
Yeah, and two very different regions as well, and two very different play styles. It's fun getting to jump between the two, get a little bit interesting as we try to switch back between the two different ones. Lizard, SEA region, you know, what comes to mind when you think about this region?
It reminds me a lot of my own region, like this Balkan/CIS where I stemmed from, because most of these teams, they come from the same country, right? Like you have 496, they're all Vietnamese. On the other hand, you have all Philippines on YC Esports, and like you can talk about the region itself, but like the countries have their own meta too. Like,
Yeah.
Because they play their own tournaments. Like if you look at 496, they won a couple of Vietnamese tournaments here and there as well that they played. So excited.
Yeah, strong sense of nationality amongst these teams for sure, and that's really fun to tap into and start to engage with the fans on that one as well. Well, we can have a look at the standings as things look right now. Of course, you know, we've only had a couple of games here in Division 1, but Division 2, we have a bunch of games still under their belt right there. So we've got Army Geniuses, Hoyo, Omega Esports, and Signal Ultra have all been able to take a series. Meanwhile, Galaxy Racer and Yangon have unfortunately dropped one series, and 0-2 are already 0-2.
Yeah.
Wow.
Going for the memes, huh, man? I love this.
That's what they wanted.
That's what they wanted. And now they forfeit. And now they don't. No, I'm just kidding. They're still here. They're still playing some Dota. But of course, over on the upper division, we have Fnatic and Neon Esports were able to take the series yesterday. And now we've got Vice Esports versus 496 Gaming. And of course, if you guys are wondering where you can find those Division 2 matches, then they'll be being casted by Zyclops, by Danog, and by Ares. And they'll be on their personal channels. Have a look for them on Twitter, and you can find them there and follow all the Division 2 action as well. But here we are getting into the upper division. We are looking at the big boys, and today's matchup is going to be 496 versus Vice Esports. Now, as Lizard mentioned, you know, it is like a nationality thing. 496 is a Vietnamese organization. They are usually all Vietnam players. They are playing with one Mongolian for this tournament, I believe, whilst Ken has gone to Execration, right? So a little bit of switch-ups coming along there.
If Team 02 is 02, what does that mean for 496?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's they're aiming high, I guess. But yeah, no, they're playing with us. I mean, he's not new. He's been playing with them for a couple of weeks before this, at the very least. But still, you know, it's a switch up for this team. But they looked good in the qualifiers. They absolutely smashed those qualifiers. Didn't drop a single game in their 2 best-of-3 series.
Yeah, they made it look easy. The first time 496 as an organization, as a team, caught my mind was during the Omega League. Like Divine League, they won 3-1 versus Execration. They had only 2 players that are in the current roster right now. That's Bombi and Dead BB. Dead BB was playing 3 back then. Now he's playing position 1. But man, I was impressed. I'm really not impressed as easily, you know, as other people, because I've been playing Dota for 15 plus years, you know, but after I was actually casting that series, and man, that was some top quality Dota. Like, definitely did not expect it.
Yeah, the thing is, like, we paneled Immortal League, which was all the tier 1 teams, and then we paneled the division that's lower, the Divine League, and Bombi and the boys, they looked better than some Immortal teams. They really did. The way they moved across the map, the plays that they made, it looked more elegant. It looked better, literally, than the Immortal teams. So, yeah, I expect a lot from them, even though they're coming from the closed qualifiers.
I just love saying Bombi and that BB. I don't know, I just love those nicknames.
It kind of suits you, Lucas. I don't know, whenever you say Bombi, yeah, it just kind of flows out your mouth very easily. But yeah, no, 496 certainly the favorites in this one. On the other side of the coin, we do, of course, have Vice Esports playing. You know, a Filipino team, and amongst a horde of Filipino players, there's so many. I mean, 55% of players playing in the upper division are Filipino, so they've got to really make a name for themselves here. Might struggle to stand out amongst the crowd, but they didn't have as easy a run through the qualifiers, but they did manage to get in over some other favorites. But yeah, I mean, what do you think of when you see this team? Who are you really looking at out of these players to make a standout performance?
What's really interesting is, like, usually when you're talking about teams, you're looking at the position 1, position 2, and how much they can do in their games. But these 2 teams, Bombi, because of his nickname on one side, and you have Zenki on the other side as well, who's provided us with some phenomenal Kotal displays here and there. His gameplay on position 5 actually brings so much to the table. So I'm actually excited to just see how these 2 match up. Bombi is maybe...
Bombi is Bombi. You know?
He's Bombi.
You guys just want to talk about Bombi so you can say his name over and over again, don't you? Alrighty. All right. Well, you know, Vice Esports, of course, being the underdog in this matchup, fighting up against the 496 Giants. You know, one of the bigger teams. Do you think it's a good time for them to try and take up a game, though? You know, it's early on in the tournament. The patch is still pretty fresh. Do you reckon they can come out and surprise us? Or would you think it's later on in the tournament we're expecting some upsets to happen?
I think we're going to see a lot of surprises throughout this tournament, because if you just watch the other regions, like every region has their own meta. Like we saw some Chinese games where there are completely different bans, completely different first phase picks. You check Europe, there's completely different stuff going on there. So there's a ton of potential. I think we probably discovered around like 10% of the patch. You know, there's some puck feels imbalanced, OD feels strong, but yeah, we're gonna definitely see some new combinations. Like the game with Troll, I believe it was yesterday, that when he goes for Aghanim Scepter, he gets that Eternal Shroud. So yeah, these are some like new stuff that people are not used to see, and we're gonna see much more of those.
It kind of feels like people are pushing it as well, you know.
Yeah.
Like we first saw the Troll at the start of the patch, which wasn't a big surprise. It was a really big Ags buff, and then someone was like, hey, you know, I'm going to build Eternal Shroud on this guy. This item seems pretty good, make him pretty tanky. And then the next guy comes in and goes, hey, you know what? I'm going to build Eternal Shroud and Heart. And they kind of just keep on pushing it and seeing how far it can go and how broken it feels. Are there any more of these things which you think people are going to start playing around with, Lizard?
The thing is, there's just so many. Like, you have your Nyx Assassin, you have your Wraith King, you have your Legion Commander, you have your, I don't know, OD, like Lacoste has said. Like, there are so many heroes that are, in my opinion, very strong right now. But if they're all strong, then you can pretty much experiment with anything.
Yeah.
One thing that I really like a lot is the fact that we don't have a lot of games. Like, look at today, we have one single series. And because of that, these teams have to decide, okay, do we try out our stuff that we practiced once or twice in scrims? Maybe it won't work competitively. Or do we just copy what seems to be working for everyone else?
I don't think they're copying things. I think a lot of these teams are going to be very innovative when it comes to the like strategies. They're going to probably, at least for the first game, they're going to try something that they've been practiced. Maybe it's going to work out, maybe it's not. Then you go back to what you know. Maybe that you have some stuff that you prepared that works really well. One thing that like happened yesterday, where we had Io, who had Paladin Sword, Heart, Kaya and Sun, just amplifying all the healing, giving out the spell damage. I actually messaged Knoxville yesterday to see, because those numbers seemed really high. And
did he crunch them?
Yeah, he did. You know, and it was the 9th biggest amount of healing since the Source 2. So that's pretty big.
It's a lot of healing. That's a lot of healing.
It is.
As long as you don't experiment way too hard, like Boom did, right? Like, we've seen what happened to them when they picked some crazy draft with Bloodseeker's safe lane, Void Spirit mid, no stuns. Like, you can see that these heroes can be considered really strong right now and in the meta, but together, if they don't gel, then it doesn't really matter. So a little bit of balance between the overall strategy plus the flavors of
I don't
want to
be disrespectful, but that game 1 draft from Boom, I feel like if they randomed, they would have ended up with the better draft.
Oh my goodness.
So
it really felt like that. You know, it can still make it work. Like, I've seen bounty hunter drafts that can work like that, because you just run at people and get that gold advantage. But yeah, it was tough. They had no lockdown for Storm Spirit, so try not to make drafts like that. Get a bit more team fight. Like, team fight still
it's almost
very strong.
self-indulgent to a point, isn't it? Where you're just like, hey, you know, like I'm just going to draft what I think is really fun and what's going to be awesome to play, and we'll see how it goes. You know, you need some guy in your team going, hey, you know, buddy, calm down. Let's keep it PG here.
I was checking the rules. I was thinking maybe it's some reverse draft, if maybe the
other
enemy
team
captain is speaking for them. But yeah.
Maybe it was one of those games where the captain asked, like, what do you want to play? There you go. What do you want to play? You want to play Bounty
Sounds
Hunter?
like a bad time to do that in DPC at the beginning. By the way, jumping into the draft, 496 already eliminating 2 heroes that have been almost in every draft of YC Esports. That's that position 4 Mirana, position 5 Kotl. They pair that Mirana very well with a Slardar or something similar. And YC Esports, they do very same thing. They ban out the Earth Spirit and the Panda. The
Brewmaster.
Yeah.
Like Brewmaster, I think we're going to see much more of this hero. They played it a couple of times. It's pretty much the standard build. If you need a hood as a first item, you get it, possibly of Lads if the enemy team has a lot of minus armor, and Aghanim Scepter. Like, new Aghanim Scepter feels really good. You get 2 charges. That's kind of a buff that he needed. He also has like a meme one, the Shard, where you get the 4th
extra
spirit.
Panda.
The extra Panda. Also doesn't feel too bad, you know, having AoE disarm feels really good. So right now, YC Esports should start thinking about getting some egg hitters, possibly, some kind of attack speed.
Panda is now a hero that you don't have to be very smart to play. Even if you fail once, like there's that other ulti that you can use.
Yeah,
So
yeah. The
what are you
Axis.
saying? You're spamming a lot of Panda?
Yeah, that's it. I'm playing it all day long.
Some nice, easy, no-brain Dota. That's all
I just wish they added that to my other heroes. Maybe 2 eggs on Phoenix, 2 black holes on Enigma without buying refresher. I'm just waiting for that, and then maybe I'll succeed as a player. Yeah, so what do we see? We see a Phoenix. With Mirana banned out, you have to think about possibly your offlaners or safe laners that can deal with that tech, or these heroes that jump him. But right now, focus on your own, if you're wise, and get a solid opening yourself too.
Yeah, I like it when teams take their time over their first few picks as well. I think it can be quite tempting to just go in and then be like, oh, we know what works, we know what we want to play.
Yeah.
But I think, taking into account the first few bans and just kind of trying to...
You know what? I actually disagree a little bit because I feel like your openings should be kind of set in stone, like openings in chess. When it's like you kind of know the first 5 moves. First 2 bans, unless there's something crazy banned out, you should kind of know what you should ban out and what you should pick, so you actually have more time in the second stage to actually throw some curveball and mix it all up.
Okay, Kasparov didn't recognize you there, but yeah, let's.
More like
Gambit,
Fisher,
yeah.
more like Fisher, but thank you.
Okay, so Tiny. Also, 496 is a team that plays a lot of Tiny when he's available, but I'm still not convinced by the hero, and the hero has been really popular like 6 months ago, where people didn't know how to play against Tiny, where he was just running around, getting the kills. What this hero needs is constant mana sustain, so you need to... to get proper, I would say, tier 1 neutral item, possibly like an arcane ring. Before, even in the previous patch, I think it was much easier because of the mango tree, so something that Tiny needed to have, like the constant mana, and teams realize how to play against Tiny. Just don't feed him away early kills, kind of make him useless.
So are you praying for Arcane Ring right now? If you're Tiny, that's it. That's
Puck
like...
is gonna take it, but eventually maybe like Faded Brooch, more tier 1 items that give mana. This is what Tiny benefits from quite a lot. Puck, not contested in the banning stage, feels like one of the best heroes right now, and Clockwork plus a Phoenix, they don't have the answer for this hero. Like, yeah, you have a hook shot. Other than that, so far, you don't have any kind of silence lockdown, so it feels like a really, really good Puck game. Pretty much it always does.
Yep. And
Such a good hero.
The thing... Okay, so why is Puck so strong right now? It's because you have multiple ways of itemizing and actually pressuring the game. You can either go for that Witchblade, which also, remember, gives you attack speed, and then you can deal with the egg too, or you can go for the normal standard, good old E-Blade, Dagon, whatever, just blow people up with the Blink Dagger.
What makes Puck such a great hero is his talents. Like, he doesn't have a bad talent. You can choose whether you want to go for the, like, spell route, or you want to go for the damage route, where you have phase shift attack, where you have the damage talent, and then you have like a cast range, spell amplification. So feels really good. Whatever you decide to go for feels good. There aren't too many heroes in Dota right now that can do the same thing and say about their talents, because for most of the talents it's a no-brainer. Like you see like 20 move speed over like 6 seconds of extra stun. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna go for.
Very difficult to decide. And these two teams are taking a slightly different approach to the second banning stage. You can see 496 mainly banning out carries, Morphling, Terrorblade. On the other side, Esports, right? They banned out these heroes that help Phoenix with his egg, but he already has Clockwork there, and that's already not too bad. Clockwork brings a lot of confusion, a lot of controls to the fights, so...
Sure, but overall doesn't feel like that good of a Clockwork game, because Puck can get out of the cogs, Tiny can toss out Clockwork, so you don't have that clear target. Still, don't get me wrong, Clockwork is always going to feel great. You have this BKB piercing ability, and he's the hero that can scale, especially with the newer Aghanim Scepter introduction, if you are able to farm that, of course.
Generally speaking as well, I think most Tiny players will hate playing into Clockwork.
Yeah.
He's got the scouting ability. He can burn your mana in the middle of a team fight, which is like one of the worst things that can happen as a Tiny, and he can counter-initiate as well. I mean, those things are pretty annoying to deal with, but I mean...
both of these position 4s should struggle in the mid game when you think about it, unless okay, we still have to wait and see what 496 drafts now. But Tiny does not have kill potential versus Phoenix and Clockwork, or at least he shouldn't have.
No.
And same goes for Clockwork. It's very difficult for him to kill off Puck or Tiny. So we'll see how that pans out. Vice Esports, they go with the Undying, which is whoever you put of these position, Phoenix or Clockwork, together with someone on offlane, Undying should have a decent time, which opens up maybe Nature's Prophet option or something like that.
It's a strong team fight.
Players? we got 2 players missing. Are they just not there for the draft?
Maybe, you know, they said pick me this if it's available, so I'm
They're
going to
so
go to
confident.
the bathroom or whatever.
So confident they don't even need to be there.
They don't need to be there with the team. Okay, I like this response. It's not a lockdown for Puck, but he has a status resistance with the ulti and can snap the coil easily. Also, of course, attack speed against the Undying Tombstone, so you kind of needed that. On Vice Esports, you don't have that clear egg hitter so far, so they need to show their hand right now, I believe. That's not it. It's
okay.
Disgusting, you know. Undying Venomancer plus a Puck. It's gonna be very hard to fight into. For 496, I think you need to get like an offlaner that builds into auras.
But how does Venomancer do versus Ursa?
Owns him. So that's really that's really what you're looking at. You're looking at that lane. You have Venomancer Tiny lane that should never lose to Ursa and Phoenix, and I think that's why they picked it, plus the abundance of magic damage that forces you into a BKB on pretty much every hero. But 496, they're also fine, kind of, when you think about it. Ursa, yeah, he has his ulti. Phoenix, he has his egg as well to get rid of all the dots. He doesn't get rid of them, but he refreshes himself, so it doesn't really matter. And Clockwork as well, he just goes in on that Venomancer. So the laning stage itself should be very easy for Vice Esports, but who knows? 496, they can switch things up. You don't have to send this Ursa versus Veno, right? Like you can mix things up, send the Ursa on offlane with someone else, and lane with a different hero versus the Venomancer. Undying though is a little bit problematic. I think that's the
I like what the Wise
factor
is doing here, where they are not showing their carry yet, and they're putting a lot of pressure on 496 to get to show their offlaner. They already banned a couple of those, but I still feel like it needs to be an aura carrier. Like this needs to be a mech, a pipe, because you're playing into Venomancer. There is some heal coming out from the Phoenix, but early on it's not gonna be that effective. A chaotic lineup from Vice. Like Tiny goes in, Puck with the coil. You need to focus the Tombstone. There's gonna be Veno wards all around. One thing I like about Venomancer is you can't really, in the mid-late game fights, you can't approach the ganks so easily.
I was literally about to say, I was waiting for Lacoste to finish his point, and then I was going to say, there's a Night Stalker coming. They needed a hero that could go in the backline to just shut down this
they played Night Stalker as a mid laner in one of their series.
They played it before. It's really good here because it doesn't bring you that utility that you're talking about. I mean, like, it's some long time ago you could build into it as a Night Stalker, but not really anymore. You usually grab that BKB blink. What it is good for, however, is vision. The vision game here is also very important. You're playing versus Venomancer. He's going to be dropping wards everywhere. You need to perhaps not counterplay it, but at least have the same advantage on your side. The Night Stalker brings it. That AoE silence, obviously, magnificent versus all of these heroes. So
I remember during Omega League we had an interview with Puppy. It was about like Venomancer because he was so popular back then. It was hard to counter him. So Puppy, you know, just brings some kind of standard stuff. And you think about it, he says like, yeah, we just picked, you know, Mirana, a Moonlight Shadow. So you have a free smoke and you don't care about the vision from the wards that they provide. I don't think they can get Mirana here, but you know, Night Stalker is kind of the same concept, the same way of thinking.
There we go, naming and shaming. Dabby and Bombi, these guys. No, I'm sure they're just off-screen, probably near their captain, I think, because they are together. 496,
they banned out so many heroes, but is Troll still in the pool? Like, Troll is still there. I guess they're just banning out all of these that Vice Esports has played multiple times, and Vice Esports also banning out all the offlaners on the other hand. But Nature's Prophet is still in the pool. Like I actually think it would round up 496's gaming very, very well. Like you have a hero that deals that deals with the Undying and can bring you that utility that you need in the game, some extra damage to deal with the Venomancer. You can always TP behind him to bring in one extra hero. So, for me, that's the obvious choice. We'll see. Maybe they have something.
Yeah.
Beastmaster, holy.
What is the what is the last ban for
Beastmaster.
496? No.
For PL.
PL. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Can't believe Beast is the last band. Like he went through so far.
Yeah, it's interesting what you were saying earlier about limiting, or this being a very vision-based game. Because certainly when you're playing Ursa, heroes like Ursa and Troll, they're really reliant on your team getting you vision. Just like a real bear, if it's blinded, it can't find its target. It's just going to get lost. So that's why you carry bear spray when you go out in the woods in Canada.
Troll for Vice feels really good. They also have the last pick, so they can adjust after seeing whether possibly Night Stalker could be an offlane. He could be mid. Most likely it's going to be mid here, because I still feel like the offlane Night Stalker does not provide you with that much pressure. So
Prophet,
yeah, it is that Nation's Prophet.
I love Troll as well, by the way, like you said.
Troll
I
just
think
feels
that's
great. The missed chance against like all three cores, Ursa, Night Stalker, and Nation's Prophet, and you're also not like if you go for melee in this type of matchup against the Nation's Prophet, you're gonna get so much hits. But as a Troll as an Agi hero, I feel he is like the strongest laner.
There's a Weaver option as well, perhaps, for Vice Esports. I don't like it as much, by the way, as the Troll. Obviously, Troll is my favorite at the moment, but that's also something like you have a hero that can perhaps play around the Prophet. Okay, they go with the Jug.
Alrighty. Okay. Well, similar in a lot of ways to the Troll Wall. Troll Wall has got the axes, Jug's got the spin. You can hit the egg very quickly with that spin as well, and there's a lot to play with there. Is it enough to make you guys think that Vice Esports are going to stand a chance in this one?
I believe they do. I actually like both of these drafts. They didn't pick anything extraordinary that I would be scratching my head about. Like all of these, like the way they draft and the way the heroes that they pick looks very logical. I would rather have Troll instead of the Jug, though.
For sure.
Well, I've got my two L's in the studio. We've also got the two B's waiting to cast this, and we can actually have a little bit of a conversation with them. Black and B Cup, our casters for this game. How's it going, guys? And what do you guys think of these drafts so far?
It's going pretty well. Drafts, I feel like I would have liked that Troll at the end. But Jug, you think that's going to be enough?
We spoke about a Troll also. If they had a Jug, I would say Vice has it in the bag 100% pretty much. But the Juggernaut makes it a bit more difficult to lean towards Vice. I think it's more 50-50 now.
Okay. Alrighty, let's get some predictions in then. Starting with Lacoste, what is your prediction for this one?
I'll still go with 496. I think this Nation's Prophet can go for like versatile item build here, whatever it's needed. Okay. Yeah, I want to see this Night Stalker pop off. Has all the tools needed in this game.
Is it?
Same, too much mobility. You have Prophet. Yeah, you have Prophet jumping behind the Venomancer together with the Night Stalker. Too much mobility on the side of 496.
Yeah, I think this is just looking like too good of a Night Stalker game, and they play it so well, so I'm afraid it's going to be 3 for 496. V-Cop and Black, what are you guys' predictions for this one? Don't make it 5, guys, come on.
I'm going Vice. I trust my boy Palos. I'm going to back him. I think, I'd like to be the odd one out. Do I get extra points for that if I'm the odd man out?
Absolutely not, but
we'll
give you a patch
Edgelord points.
But you lose more points if you're wrong.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take the risk.
I'm going for 496. I would have gone for Vice if they picked Troll, but I don't believe in this Juggernaut against Ursa matchup. It's not very good, I think, and they got us in the bag.
They got us in the bag. Alrighty, well, that's 4 votes for 496. Only 1 for Vice Esports, but maybe, just maybe, they can do it. We don't hate their draft. We just feel like one draft is better than the other. Alrighty, guys, well, the game is now live, so we're going to hand it across to B-Cop and Black, who are going to be a commentary duo for this matchup. Gentlemen, take it away.
Ready to go. Thank you, Nomad. I'm ready. I'm ready to back Vice. But we'll see how it goes.
Honestly, if they picked that Troll, I would have backed them 100% too. It just feels like, as I said, this Juggernaut against Ursa matchup, like you want to Omni-Slash him, he just enrages, Whereas Troll, you just have this permanent blinding axis, and you can't really fight the Troll ever as an Ursa until you get BKB. It's just such a better matchup, I don't know why they chose to pick this Juggernaut.
It seemed like the obvious choice was the Troll.
Yeah, to everyone, right?
Yeah, the panel, we were talking about it. We were saying Troll seems like that choice.
What do you think made them...
I think they want to prove us wrong, maybe. They're just like, everybody's saying Troll. We want a little bit more of a hill to climb, make it more of a challenge, or maybe it's just comfortability on the hero.
Yeah, comfortable probably. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know Palos plays a really good Juggernaut.
Yeah, he
I
does.
haven't really seen him play much Troll at all, so maybe that's why.
Yeah.
But yeah, would have been a much better pick for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility to see, the comfortability on a hero come into play with that. So it's very interesting. The lanes will look a little difficult. You were talking about how that Venomancer is going to be a bit of a problem, and I'm kind of excited to see how they deal with it, as well as what the Venomancer build's going to be, how he's going to go against this, what should be the Clockwork and the Ursa.
Yeah, it's going to be incredibly tough for this Ursa to get any sort of game going, honestly. I've seen it yesterday in an EU game. He had like 2,500 net worth in 15 minutes, which is like support net worth, basically.
Yeah, basically.
It's just so hard to lane against the Venomancer. Anytime you get Galed and one hit, like you just can't, like you lose half your health and you have no movement speed. There's a Tiny on top who can just avalanche and toss you. It's going to be a very tough game for the Ursa, for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of that also could depend on how quickly maybe the Tiny gets that Blink Dagger, has that ability to just jump in, use the Avalanche Toss.
Yeah.
Are you trying to toss him onto anybody in particular? Is it like, you're trying to alley-oop and get him right on top of, say, the Jug, or set something up with that toss, or is it more just getting that positioning and maybe throwing him away from his team?
I mean, this game in particular, Tiny, I don't think has any good target to combo kill, because all of the Radiant is pretty tanky. So I think the main use of his Blink Dagger this game, as you said, will be the repositioning. Just like throw a guy out of position. And then, I think it's going to be a tough Tiny game, to be honest. They have all the chance in the world to run away with this game, 4-9-6, because they have a snowball lineup. They have this Prophet who can get a fast Orchid. Against this Puck, they have this Night Stalker who can get a fast BKB Blink. This Puck can potentially be very, very useless also. I'm just basing it on the fact that I'm a little bit of a 4-9-6 fanboy.
It's coming
Bombi
out,
is
I
my
already
boy.
feel it.
Yeah, Bombi is my boy. I've played so much party queue with him while I was in SEA, and we win pretty much almost every game. This guy is so good. He has so much talent, and the team is just really good, actually. I think it's one of the better dark horses of the tournament, and they have a chance to go all the way.
Yeah, they really impressed me with their play coming into this tournament, the qualifiers coming through.
Yeah.
But I'm ready to see what Vice have. I know a couple of these guys, like Palos was on Execration. They had like a bit of a run, I would say, maybe the Tier 2
at the
SEA.
beginning,
And like
the honeymoon phase.
There is that like honeymoon phase, and they were doing really well. And then, now he's here with Vice. But 496 has definitely impressed me at times. And I think there are a lot of maybe people who are watching who maybe haven't seen 496 exactly, or even Vice, because Vice is a bit of a newer org, right? They just kind of came into it. So
I actually played with their previous org for a little while, so I know the guys pretty well. But if we just look at the qualifier run, 496 didn't drop a single game, I think. Whereas Vice Esports, they had a couple of rough games. They barely made it through the lower bracket, I think 2-1 in the final game they had. And if you win that first qualifier without dropping a single game,
feels good.
That's a big statement, because all the good teams are still there, whereas in the second qualifier, of course, 2 of the best teams are already out.
Yeah.
And just based on that, I mean, 496 is just beast. They also have Hustler now, who played in RR before. He's an amazing post-4 player. I think
he was still wearing the Reality Rift jersey, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like his Earth Spirit, his Clockwork is amazing. And we might even see a safe lane Phoenix rather than a Clockwork, because Bombi loves his post 5 Phoenix. I think his Dota level is like 27, I think. He's almost a Grandmaster on it. I hate playing against him in pubs. When he plays Phoenix against you just don't want to play Dota. It's brutal.
It's that good.
This guy knows everything, in and out. Like his egg positioning is just so good. He played this year, I think, like 1,500 times already. I think it says in the stats, like in pub games. It's just brutal. Like this guy is just so good.
Yeah, that is a lot of games to play on Phoenix. I don't think I have nearly 10% on any hero of that full amount that he's got.
He's definitely a hero spammer. Wind Ranger as well, techies. He has some extraordinary heroes, for sure.
It'll be interesting to see where they place everybody. We've got Red on this Nature's Prophet, and so far starting out with a Windlace Blightstone.
That is such an interesting item build. Windlace, Blightstone. Usually you want to have some stats, a little bit of regen. But this Windlace is just to outrun the Juggernaut spin, of course. Because now you have a little bit more movement speed than him. But yeah, he has no regen. It's going to be pretty tough if he gets zoned level 1. If Juggernaut manages to spin him level 1, he has no regen. He has no way to teleport back. It's going to be brutal for him. So maybe they'll make use of that.
Ryu on the Veno. I'm really excited because we just having that little chat between the two of us before this started. Like, I'm just excited to see how he plays this lane out because it should be something where he can take advantage.
Definitely. It's also the support Tiny is generally considered quite weak, but if you're in such an advantageous matchup, like Veno against Ursa, Tiny is one of the best supports to have because you can toss him out of position. The Avalanche is a very good disable that lasts for like almost 2 seconds. It's a very, very good help for the Venomancer in the lane as well. I expect him to be struggling a lot on his bot lane, on his Ursa.
So what's the build for the Venomancer? And then, you know, as a second part to that question, how are you playing as the Ursa to try and work around what that Venomancer ends up going for?
Okay, so usually the build on a Veno would be like a Vessel into more utility items, where there's like a Force Staff or a Pipe or Heaven's Halberd even against the Ursa as well. He will be going the utility route for sure. And Ursa, really all you can do is just get all the CS you can, and like level 4, you just gotta retreat to the jungle, honestly. There's not much you can do in this lane.
Taking a look at the triple split. Looking at all these lanes hung up against Bob in mid lane. That's one that I wasn't truly expecting. You know, Night Stalker very much one of those off-lane staples.
Yep.
But coming in mid up against this Puck, what makes it a good matchup for him?
He has very high init region, as well as pretty high armor for a melee hero. And honestly, the only problem Night Stalker can have in a game is when he gets bullied out of lane. And the Puck cannot bully a Night Stalker out of lane. He just doesn't have the damage capability to do so. So he'll just get level 6 fast, he'll get a bottle, and he'll probably start moving around the map, making some plays, maybe even on the Venomancer, you know, just to alleviate some pressure from the Ursa.
We'll have to see where he is and where he goes with that first night, how active he's going to be.
Yeah. It's going to be a big part of this game. Like, he will need to make space for that Ursa because, as we said, he's going to have a rough time. You can already see bot lane is... like, he can't play. You know, he got Galed, he just gets right-clicked. He might even die if he gets tossed back.
Now the Tiny's coming over. He's got the toss ready to go. Gets him up in the air on Ryu. Has Gale up in 6 more seconds, but that harassment is quite a bit. He's still got 4 tangos to his name. This is still looking like a bit of a rough lane for him, despite the fact that he is 6-2. And there it is. There's the Venomous Gale once again. And again, the Tiny looking has that toss available, ready to go. So tosses him up into the air, right under the Venomancer. A couple of right clicks come in, but now Onryu looking to finish off that first blood.
Deny, maybe?
I think he's holding it. Yeah, he's trying to time the deny, and it will be the Tiny who takes first blood. DatBB ends up giving it up. So we talked about the struggles that Ursa could have, and they're apparent already.
Yeah, it's it's one of the worst lanes in the entire game for him. There's just not much you can do. I'm very surprised they showed the Ursa so early in the draft, to be honest. I think they could have held that like one more pick. But I mean, they have their own ideas, obviously, how this game should go. So,
So Puck already 17-0.
yeah.
Bob's having a great time.
I mean, Puck will definitely free farm in his lane, but all Night Stalker really wants is his levels and, you know, his bottle, his boots, just so he can start running around. Because come nighttime, Night Stalker actually is a big threat to the Puck with that silence that lasts for 5 seconds on level 1. One of his biggest enemies. Because even the duels doesn't help against it.
Yeah, and much more so a nuisance when he's getting soul experience. Mid, you're getting a little bit more of a priority than, say, in the off lane, where sometimes that first night feels a little bit lackluster, but here he should be able to do something with it. He's already level 4. He's working towards that level 5. Things looking like, you know, they could set up for Night Stalker to be a bit more active than maybe we'd see him from the off lane.
Yeah, definitely. You just have much more levels to work with. Top lane, we can see Juggernaut struggling a little bit. I still feel like he would just be free farming, you know, on a troll, but
They
diving
go
is
for
not a chance.
Zanky. Yeah, Hustle under there for just a split second under the tier 1 tower, but a decay and then just Palace fainting going over is enough to push him back.
Yeah. Also holding a skill point, he might potentially put down a tombstone if necessary. But most people would just go 2 levels in Soul Rip at this point just to give you a carry a good lane.
4-minute rune ends up bottom. Double damage picked up by Bombi. Tiny now, he might be in some trouble. Throws the avalanche out. The right clicks in from Bombi to get a kill there onto Semeo.
Just be careful here in the Puck.
He's got no mana to
it's
work
not a good
with.
trade
He
at
does
all.
have a mango. This is a problem. The double damage doing quite a bit. The Illusory Orb over Bombi. Phase shift.
I'm not sure what the Puck is trying to do. They look quite funny. Well, now you just need to go back to base. I'm not sure what he was trying to do there. But as you can see, Bombi, he knows the limits of the zero very, very well.
Yeah. Does he stay mid just because the, you know, now he can get the fill from the Tiny?
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets the refill from the Tiny, and then you got 20 seconds until bounty runes are available anyway, so you can get that bottle fill once again.
But also nighttime coming up. It's going to be scary, scary nighttime.
Yeah. 10 seconds till the nighttime hits, and you've got a Night Stalker who's getting really close to level 6. He actually hasn't taken the Crippling Fear at all.
Yeah, he'll probably take it at 6, I'd imagine. Hopefully, because without that, you're not much of a threat on the map against Juggernaut as well as Puck. So we'll see what he goes into. Oh, you can see now he's starting to be very aggressive on the Puck. And another bottle refill. Yeah, he really needs that at this point.
Yeah, another TP over towards mid, this time by Zanky, and he fills up the bottle of Bob.
That's where I, as a mid laner, I'm just like, oh man, can you just play this lane 1v1, bro? Like, what is your problem? Keeps getting this bottle refilled. And he chooses the silence, but doesn't get it off in time though. Close. If he gets the silence, there's a real possibility for a kill.
Bob, though, still CSing really well. Now the right click's coming out on a Bob. He's got the illusory orb to jump back already out of that bottle. Again, he is taking plenty of sips. And then bottom lane, Onryo, one more shot till he's dead, but under the tower is Bombi. He falls, and it looks like they'll at least get a trade in the Tiny.
A profit rotation to try to alleviate some pressure from the Ursa, which almost killed the Venomancer as well, barely lived. But you know, this is really like what you gotta do. Because the winning condition in the end is the Ursa. You want him to have a decent game at least, so he can go to the jungle and just farm up. And honestly, he's not having the worst time. Like, he's
Fury, Dream Coil up in the top lane. They'll go for the Clockwork. Just about dead. Hustle on the run, and one more shot to the tower. Will take him out. He knew he was dead to rights, but Zanky now getting chased by Hung. Hung goes under the tier 1. You know that the Puck just TP'd towards top. Zanky, he'll try to survive, has the Soul Rip. Taking a lot of time from this Night Stalker, but at the end of the day, it's still worth it, and he'll get the kill.
Oh, he's losing the courier to the tower. Feels bad, man.
Yeah, not always nice to lose that courier. DPC low once again. Struggling with the aggression that's coming out bottom.
Yeah. Still doing better than yesterday. So I'm proud of him. I'm happy for him. Nightstalker trying to rotate bottom as well, but doesn't really find anything. It's really hard to rotate without TPs, honestly, because there's always going to be a ward on you. Maybe you need to get smoked up by the support as well.
Zanky comes over. They'll look for this Phoenix. Illusory Orb in. Bombi dead again. Hung is over here. They don't want to give up this tombstone, so Zenki's trying to get the deny, but now you've got the Tiny coming over, the Avalanche as well as the toss that's right on top of the Puck. Hung will throw the silence onto all three. I'll give chase for a moment, but here comes the Ursa. He's rotated. Does not feel worth it for DPC, unless they get something out of this.
It doesn't feel worth it, but do you want to go back to the Venomancer lane? Also, no. So he probably will just try to go top lane now, start to pressure the tower with the Nature's Prophet. And Coil here on the Clockwork again.
Yeah, Coil, but
let's be careful in the Puck.
You've got this Night Stalker coming around. Bob in some trouble. Illusory Orb gets some distance. Now the Venomancer's coming with a Venomous Gale hitting onto Hung. Throws that Crippling Fear around him, but it's not enough to scare the side of Vice away.
Good rotation from the Venomancer. Gives a lot of time for the Phoenix spot lane now. Oh, he's going aggressive on the Juggernaut. He's in trouble here. Wow, the Prophet ult.
Palos, Prophet ult is enough.
Wow, he just gets sniped. So good. And he just TP'd down there, I believe, right? He did. So his TP's on cooldown.
It's the long walk.
Yeah, a walk of shame. Prophet ulted in your face.
And Prophet going for that first item Orchid, so they're looking for multiple silences to try and deal with the slippiness of this Puck.
Yeah.
Make sure that he's not able to lose your orb away from you. If you can get control of the Puck,
top is getting silenced here.
Yeah, now they've got the Crippling Fear. He'll look for the illusory orb, but he's silent, so he can't jaunt over to it. Trying to juke through the trees. Gets over to the side for a second. Now has the phase shift, has illusory orb in a second, but it's not in time. Bob ends up dead to Hung. Night Stalker and Ursa combining. DPC involved in one. And, you know, that's the switch going up towards top. Had a struggle of a lane over bottom. 496, they're up a K.
Yeah. I mean, now we can really see why 496 is very well respected in this scene as well, in SEA. They're just so aggressive. I think they're the most aggressive SEA team out of all the upper division teams. They're just always in their face, you know. They're always trying to make plays happen. They see even trying to dive the tower here. Toss to the Juggernaut.
And the toss right to the Jug. Battery Assault, Cogs, now he's with them. They're also bringing over Bob again.
Got a coil if necessary, but probably won't need it.
Yeah, illusory orb and then the finish. Bob gets the kill. Holding that dream coil, I guess maybe if there's like a retaliation from 496, using it on the clockwork. It's gotten you a couple of kills, but do you really want to be throwing it out all the time just for that clock?
Yeah, it kind of feels like a waste when the Night Stalker and Ursa as well as Prophet are just like running around like mad people. Definitely got to hold it a little bit. Might be getting a pick on the Phoenix here. Nope, just pushing out the wave. Phoenix is level 6 soon. Actually, just got 6 from the level 10, minute 10 outpost.
Bombi found Decay, and now the hookshot comes in from Hustler. They've got the
here.
cogs around Onryu. They get the kill on the Venomancer very quickly. Goes to the Supernova, but this is gonna get off.
Now he's
Puck
chasing the puck.
bailed on it. I think Bob, if he just throws that right click instead of going away with the illusory orb, they take out the Supernova. It was one shot till dead. They have the Dream Coil. They'll get the kill on a Bombi. Finally, they find something in return. Hung's trying to get on top of Bob with the silence. Illusory orb, though, on cooldown for another 4 seconds. And this is a bit of a problem now under the tower. Omni Slash, phase shift, survives with the illusory orb, but the Void is in time, and now he's over the trees. Palos can't control Hung. Just able to fly away safely, and the lead is just jumping. 3K now for 496.
Yeah, and all that space for the Ursa. He's almost back at the top of the net worth. Going for his Battle Fury, only needs 2,000 more to have it. And we spoke about a bad matchup. Juggernaut does not match up well against this Ursa.
And Ursa, who's recovering quite well after such a difficult lane up against the Venomancer, must feel good to get that space, and 496 have done a very good job of opening that space for him.
Yeah, this Puck is going to have a really, really brutal game. Only 70 gold more for the Prophet to finish his Orchid. Then he plays against the Night Stalker and an Orchid. It's just going to be so hard for him to do anything. He's so low on the net worth. Going for the Blink first, but until you get the duels, you're in trouble.
They put down the Tombstone. I don't know if that's going to be enough to deter 496. Powell's already sitting literally low. Hookshot comes out onto Onryu. He's on the run. Red comes in. Doesn't have the Wrath of Nature. He did just use that. Now they've got the silence out onto the jug with the Orchid showing up. Palace and Onryu are both gone.
Yeah, the power of this early Orchid. Pre-minute 12 even, or a coil here on 2 maybe? Tossed it in,
but it's into the silence. Wow. Hung's still low. Decay on a 2. Icarus dive over. They've got the silence on a Bob. He's trying to run. The damage, the phase shift, but it's not enough to survive. And Phoenix, with 20 health remaining, just escapes death. Meanwhile, Hung, he's not so lucky. They've got both Zenki and Semiel to kill off this Night Stalker.
Yeah, they ended up killing the Night Stalker still. He overstayed his welcome a little bit, but why did he toss his Puck into 2 silences? Like, he just killed his Puck, basically.
Yeah.
He had a very good 2-man coil there. They would have just gotten those kills with no problem, but instead, it's like a little bit of a disaster for this Puck.
Boom handle for the Jug, who's kind of keeping up with the Ursa.
Not a hook on the Veno.
Onryu, who had a decent lane, is now dealing with the repercussions of getting aggressed on by 496. Supernova down. Bob has to lose a reorb away. Bombi, it pops, but doesn't really connect with anybody.
Yeah, had to use it. It was too low. The Puck was about to kill him. So that's a cooldown expended. Getting the mid tower now as well in the Ursa. He's very close to his battlefield already. Just needs one more component. And he's ahead of the Jug now by quite a bit.
And he's starting to really pull away.
Yep, as well as his Prophet. He's really rich. 6k net worth already. And that's what I really like about his 496 team. You know, the mid laner oftentimes just transitions into ore. We see Nighttime here. Top lane.
Going after Semiel as he's trying to run to the Tiny. I don't think he's getting away from this one. He can run, but at this point in the nighttime, you can't hide. So they'll chase him. They've got the Orchid, and they have the damage. They'll get the kill. Hung with another one. They're looking towards Bob once again. They really want to just keep harassing the Puck. And he has struggled with these silences. That Orchid timing has been really beneficial for the Nature's Prophet.
For sure. I mean, playing against an early Orchid with a struggling Puck is always a big, big mess. Simply because the only tool you have is the Yules, but you always want to get your Blink before that Yules. So it's still probably 10, maybe even 15 minutes until he gets his Yules up. He found an Illusion Rune, though, which is basically a Manta style, so he can purge off that Orchid now. A single time only, of course. One use. They're trying to pressure the bot tower. They don't have Egg, they don't have Nighttime, so they probably have to forfeit this mid tower. And they're just looking to farm up on the side lanes. They're actually smoking down there.
Yeah, they're up by quite a bit. I know they don't have the Supernova, but it's up in 20 seconds. They have Wrath of Nature. They extend a fight long enough, and maybe it goes their way. But with no Supernova up, Phoenix will try to survive. Avalanche toss, Bombi dead again. However, Onryu, he falls.
Yeah, he got found out by the Clockwork again, and Ursa makes quick work of him. I mean, don't get me wrong, Veno is great against Ursa, but if he's on top of you, he will shred you.
Yeah.
He's not supposed to be this rich. But he is. They're pulling away with their lead.
Didn't exactly keep checks on him. Once he left that bottom lane, it felt like the game was a lot more free. Bottom lane, though, Hustler, Diana, Bob, Red's in on it. 3 heroes ready to chase, but he'll TP away.
Yep. And it's nighttime once again. Now Night Stalker is very scary again. He went for Blink Dagger first, actually. Now the puck really doesn't want to play Dota anymore. Just all about the silences. Jack has been found out here, Prophet TPing in.
Palos, Blade Fury, they've got the silence.
Ooh, the Sprout blocked him out a bit.
Calling Blade to get out of the Sprout, yeah.
The TP was a bit premature. You should wait for the Night Stalker to silence him first and let him initiate first. But it's okay. Small mistakes happen. They're looking for the puck again. Prophet is about to TP in.
They want to go for Bob. Yeah. They've got that BB here with Hung.
Here it comes.
Prophet goes up a little bit high. He's going to be found out by the Tiny potentially, but the Sprout keeps him out of the trees. They've got the silence. They'll get the kill. Bob, who was CSing well in the lane, now in trouble in the game. The hook shot stops Zenki's TP, and they've got themselves 2. So 4-9-6. Just the fluid motions around the map. It has been impressive.
Yeah, mid lane has to be careful too. If the Prophet gets a silence on him.
He goes to Blade Fury, but I don't think he gets out of this. Now the Blade Fury is going to end. They've got the silence. They'll get the kill into Palos. He's dead for 34. It's just, it's top to bottom to mid, back to bottom. Like, they're just moving all over the place.
Yeah, this is the strength of this mid Night Stalker. He's finding the Tiny here as well, who has a Blink Dagger, but as we spoke about it before, they're too tanky on the Radiant side. He can't burst anyone.
Yeah.
They have 2 Blink Daggers now, though, so if they make something happen, it has to be now.
They've been found out. Bombi ready to just, like, throw a Supernova right in that area of the map if they go for a fight near this tower.
Bombi in a perfect position here, though. The egg on the high ground there could be very devastating for the Dire side if they manage to get a team fight over there.
Yeah, I don't think they end up seeing it or being able to see it in time to blow it up.
Yeah. I mean, if the egg is there, you're going to be wondering, where is this coming from? And yeah, you're more than likely just going to get stunned. Another hook shot on the puck.
Orchid. And they've got Red with the Orchid. He's dead again.
Dead again. How many deaths is that now? 5 deaths already.
They've just dealt with Bob perfectly.
Yeah. They have perfect heals against it, and they executed it perfectly every time. And they itemize also to just, you know, kill this Juck, kill this puck before they do anything. This Juck also going for the Battle Fury first, not the Manta, so he's in big trouble too.
Against his Orchid, already minutes behind the Ursa on the Battle Fury.
Yep.
Venomous Gale, and there's the Rocket Flare. Hook shot on cooldown for another 25, so won't have that long-range initiation with that. But again, they do have the Blink Dagger of the Night Stalker when it's available. Blink, silence, all of a sudden things kind of get chaotic for Vice.
Yep. Night time up in 30. This is when they really want to start pressing the issue again. Bot tower gets killed by Treants. They're invading the triangle, stealing their stack as well. Trying to stack it once more for more efficiency, and they get it. Nice. Good triple stack. Now this feels so bad if you're Dire. Getting your stack stolen, you know, you can't go anywhere on the map. You see they're invading the enemy triangle now just because it's the only safe place right now. They can't play on their own side of the map anymore.
That BB continuing to farm.
Yep. Very rich now. 9k net worth already. Prophet also 9k net worth. He's filthy rich. 700 gold to his BKB. Once that BKB is up, they really have almost no way to deal with him.
Yeah, it could be an issue. And then look at this, they're already pressing. Hung is looking to dive the tier 2. He's ready to go if anybody's even slightly out of position. 4-9-6, they're playing aggressive. They want to jump. They've got the hook shot. Onryu again caught by that hook. And again, he won't make it out with his life.
Yep. Tiny trying to cut the mid wave so they can't get the tower at least, but they have no stun to cancel him. Okay. Good job by the Tiny. At least they're protecting the tower. But the Juggernaut has to be careful.
Jug.
If he gets silenced.
Out of sight, out of mind. But they're coming top. They're going for Bob. They've got the crippling fear. However, he's ready this time with the blink. His courier ends up dead.
Oh, they're still chasing.
Yeah,
He's going to cancel him.
Yeah, they're going to find him. They've got the Void. They'll stop the TP. Bob now hit with that silence from the Orchid. The right clicks are in. Maybe a little bit more slippy with the Blink Dagger, but it's not going to matter as now Avalanche toss on a Bombi. He's taking some damage, but they've got that BB who picks up an Aegis.
Yeah.
So while all that's happening, they're going after Ursa. The objectives all over the map, and they have really capitalized on their movements. Up now 12K just 19 minutes into the game. This has been perfect play from 496. I feel like I can't praise enough, and I don't want to sound like I'm just all on 496, but they've played the game that way. They've played it right through every section of the game so far.
Yep, I mean the relentless aggression from this team is always the talking point of this team. It's always driving them through. Oh, he has to be careful in Juggernaut.
Yeah, he's in trouble again. Tosses him back to the Venomancer. That helps him get away. Venomous Scale thrown on the Hustler. He's thinking about going through with that hook shot, and he will. He'll commit it. Ulti comes out from Onryu, but 4 more shots to kill him off. DapBB, he'll get the kill. The Supernova's out. It's well placed. They've got this Sunray right on top of Palos. They get that kill onto the Jug. They look over at Samael. They take out a 3rd, potentially a 4th in Zenki. And now Bob trying to fight 1v5, gets himself at least 1 on Hustle, and maybe a 2nd Dreamcoil committed to go onto the Phoenix and finish off Bombi. A double kill for Bob, but that is a 2 for 4. With a very good fight once again from 496.
Yep, and that was completely without the Night Stalker. He was just farming up. 400 gold to his BKB. Prophet already has his BKB, almost a Hyperstone up on him. They're just making such good use of the map, and they're just like choking them out. They just have no place to go. This Juggernaut, 8k net worth, Battle Fury only. Puck with his gold infusion from those 2 kills almost has his use at least, but against his BKB Night Stalker, it won't do anything. You can't use yourself out of that.
And so we take a look at this replay once again. They went after Hustle. They went in a little bit too far. Hustle, he's not taking that much damage. He's ready to commit, going with the hook shot. They've got a great placed Tombstone as well from Zenki, but it's just not enough. That Tombstone just being so far behind at this point of the game, it's not going to matter. Hustle focuses his attention on that. The Soul Orb keeps it alive for 1 more second, but at that point, you've already lost 4, and Bob just trying to find a way to really get something out of that exchange. And he does get 2 kills. That's all right for him, but overall, Vice, that is not a fight that they're even close to winning.
Yeah, it's a very good gold infusion for him. As we said, now he has a Yule Scepter. The Prophet won't be able to kill him anymore, but the Night Stalker will. And honestly, the only way now for Dire to really come back is Jug needs to get very rich, and they need an Aghanim Scepter on the Puck to deal with the BKBs. That's really the only way right now. But it's going to be tough to get there.
Scale avoided.
Yep, going on the
Puck
Puck
now
here.
They found Bob again. Sprout around him, phase shift. Illusory Orb for the jump. Avalanche toss. That's going to hit Bobby. They've got the Sunray on top of Bob. He's still dead. Crippling Fear. And just surviving with the TP away. But Onryu, he's dead to DapBB, who's still holding on to the Aegis. Has that BKB. Going for the Blink Dagger next. Just down their third aggression from 496.
He solo killed the Venomancer. How the tables have turned, huh? Who's the bully now?
Very much the Ursa.
Very much the Ursa indeed. They're probably just going to wait till nighttime until they pressure the high ground, which is 1 minute out from now. Undying trying to cut Wave's top. This just looks like a little feed though.
Zenki spotted. Jug is here. They bring over Red. They're going to focus their attention on Zenki. Now look the other way to maybe get a kill onto the Jug, but with him moving off this Undying, takes just that much longer for Hung to finish off Zenki. And now he's unstoppable.
Yep, 17k gold behind. This Phoenix, he has a hood on his way to a Lotus Orb. He's almost unkillable. You know, all they have on Dire at this point is magic damage, and he has a hood on Phoenix, 1700 health. It's just incredibly tough to even kill the supports. What about a Clockwork? His Glimmer Cape, which is basically a hood if he glimmers himself, and the Yule Scepter. They are all so incredibly rich.
They really are, and there's that Blink Dagger getting debuted. Venomous Scale thrown out as well as the Poison Nova. They've got the Sunray. Here comes Red, ready to go. Sprout, Orchid, and the damage onto the Veno is enough. DapBB with another kill and holding on to that Aegis still.
Yep. I think they might want to go high ground soon. Clock TPing top actually to try to catch the Tiny. He got him with the hook shot.
Hook shot comes through. Tiny in trouble. Samael throws out the Avalanche, but Red's joined in on the fight. So they've got the Orchid, they have the damage, and another kill now, 29 to 12. They've set up an 18K lead, and Nature's Prophet, he's also gone into the Blink Dagger. So he's looking to close the distance, make sure if Puck blinks away, I'm right there with you. I've got the Orchid. That feels like it's just to stay on top of anybody who's going to try and blink away.
Very much so. It's like a complete snowball item build. And yeah, I mean, I love the way they're itemizing. It's almost perfect with the position they're in the game right now.
Bob again just getting harassed.
Yeah, but really, like, Dire has to get out of the base right now. Of course, Puck is the one who's pushing out side lanes, but his Juggernaut is not getting much farm. He needs to be the one, you know, that gets like the most of the gold of the Dire team, but he's just not finding much. Still, not even doesn't even have his Manta style yet.
And the Nature's Prophet went for the shard.
Yeah,
Ascension,
nighttime.
Hustler, looking for Zenki, trying to run into the trees, but he's
Juggernaut,
been spotted. Hook shot. Hustler changes his target. Now they've got the crippling fear hung on top of him. They get the kill on a palace. They look over at Zenki. They'll chase this Undying. Zenki gonna run. He's not gonna be able to hide. He's dead again. Sunray on Onryu. They are all over these heroes, all over the map. Here comes Red. He's using that TP with the right clicks, has the Sprout, gets the kill. 20K lead for 496. It's not the most global lineup, but they are moving around the map like they have Nature's Prophet and Storm just ready to go with like a recall. It just feels like they have such a global presence, and it's really outstanding, and they've played everything right. For Vice, though, like you said, they got to get out on the map. They have to find some farm. They're just going to fall further and further behind if they just are corralled into those steps and onto the base.
Yeah, but it is so scary to go out of your base against the Night Stalker as well as a Prophet and Clockwork. There's so much long distance initiation, you know, like you've seen it here. The Juggernaut just pushed out like 2 waves, you know, instantly just gets killed.
Yeah.
Absolutely obliterated. And I mean, at this point, honestly, it seems like an unwinnable game. They will just have to wait for mistakes from the Radiant side.
Orchid, hook shot, now the Sprout around him. He tries to get away, but he's dead once again. He's got buyback available. He'll be dead for 49 seconds. We'll see if he commits the buyback. They get the kill on Zenki. They'll look with the Supernova. It's right on top of the base, in between the tier 3s and the tier 4s of the Dire side. Bob, he'll lose her orb and jump back. You've already bought back on the Undying. You're trying to hold it on Palace as much as possible because he still wants that Manta. He needs to have some sort of economy to back up this Jug. You've got a Basher picked up by the Ursa, and they're taking your top tier 3 as well as that set of racks. Toss, Dream Coil, snaps it. This is all for a clock. It's a kill, so it's worth something for them, but now they got to get a little bit more. They need to make them pay for this. Red goes in deep. He blinks away, trying to take his life with him. Pops the BKB, goes for the TP, and they just don't have anything to catch this Nature's Prophet. However, they go for the Phoenix. They've got the silence on top of him. With the crippling fear, though, of Hung turning this around. Bob did again. Palace trying to at least get something. Bomb be gone, but with Jug alive once again, he falls just as quickly. And he's going to die. Zenki will join him in the grave. 3 heroes down on the side of Vice. Make it a 4th triple kill for Hung. This is looking like it's potentially the end for Vice in game 1.
Yeah, it's been a brutal beatdown. Ever since that first nighttime started, you know, they've just found so much aggression all around the map over and over again. And Vice never really managed to deal with it, you know. Like, the only way you deal with it is having numbers in position before it happens.
Yeah.
But they were just not able to get a read on 496's gameplay at all. Like, I've said it before, 496 is notorious for their aggression. And you can see in this game why. They're so good. They're so fast. They will punish your mistakes immediately. This is also why they've had such a flawless lower, or rather, qualifier run. Simply because it's so hard to deal with this. You know, like what do you do at this point? You can't go out on the map anymore at all.
It's their style of play. But it almost feels like maybe Vice weren't expecting such aggression.
Yeah.
It was like Night Stalker hit that 6, and that was go time. And
yeah.
That's so early into the game. And I especially think they benefited from the fact that Nature's Prophet got that early Orchid and was able to move around the map and harass Bob.
Yeah.
Really make his game almost impossible to play.
I mean, Ursa, we spoke about, had a tough early 10 minutes or so. But then after, the team just made so much space for him.
There they go again, looking for Samuel.
Yep.
Get 4 staff back. Now they go for the racks. This will be Megas.
Yep. Toss
Toss,
back.
Dream Coil by BKB. DapBB focuses on Zanky. He throws down the tombstone before he loses his life. They get the kill to this Undying. They'll look for more Onryu trying to get up these stairs, maybe to some safety, but the hookshot comes out from Hustla. They have the Sprout around this puck. They'll stop that Yules with the Nullifier, but there's the Abyssal Blade that was finished off by DapBB. Kills off Palos again, and GG is called by Vice. 496 will take game one, and they just go into the well and finish off the entire team.
Yep, I am not gonna lie. The last time I've seen a 40k gold difference in 29 minutes,
fast.
I don't even know when the last time was. Probably a couple of years ago. This was a brutal beatdown. Like, the Vice just had no chance whatsoever, you know. And honestly, would the troll pick have changed that much?
Potentially.
I mean, yeah, I don't know, but yeah.
It could have been, you know, the difference maker there. 496's aggression was out of control, and you know, I was trying to find the silver linings there for Vice coming into potentially game two. Like, what did they do well about this? But the jump just started so quickly from 496. So a very good and well played game by 496. They take game one, and we'll throw it over to the panel. Nomad, back to you.
We here at PGL would like to apologize to anybody with young children watching, because that was brutal. I mean, that was absolutely savage. They didn't take any prisoners there at all. 496 completely destroyed that game. But, you know, we want to break it down a little bit. We want to find the cracks in the concrete that kind of led to this situation. For me, I think it was kind of this puck problem, right? Because the puck just had way too much pressure on him to get some work done. And that didn't really happen. Was that the puck, or was that 496 just kind of itemizing and playing to deal with it? Or was it drafting problems?
Every single time I saw puck dying, I was like, Bobby,
Bob,
not
Bob.
again. Come on, Bob, you
Bobby
can fix
boy.
that. You know, Bob the builder will try to make stuff happen, fix it. But yeah, it didn't work out. It was a very aggressive lineup coming out from 496 Gaming, where they just started off very well. Like, Puck had a decent laning stage. Like, he was almost 10 CS ahead of the Night Stalker, but then decided to kind of man up and fight a double damage Phoenix, which cost him the lane. So two heroes that were dead, like Tiny and Undying, they TP'd mid to refill his bottle twice. But then it was a nighttime, and I like to build on a Night Stalker. He put 1 point in silence on level 6 just to keep that pressure going. And when you think about it, like, Ursa had a rough laning stage, and then he fell back to the jungle. Of course, he wants to farm that Battle Fury, while the rest of the team is just keeping them busy, because they know, like, carry-to-carry matchup is much, much better for Ursa. Juggernaut doesn't really do that much.
We called it. We called it during the drafting stage. Like, Troll was the perfect pick for them, because not only does he actually match up well versus Ursa, he dominates, well, let's not say dominates, but he does well versus Nature's Prophet in the lane. Like, Prophet doesn't do a whole lot to him, so you would actually fix two of your problems. You would have a late game potential with your position 1, plus your Puck would have an easier game, because that Orchid on Furion would come a little bit later. He wouldn't stomp his lane too, right? So there are some things, but you know, like in a game such as this one, you have to ask yourself, how Puck can be really strong, but they picked him very early on. And what does he build here? Blink Dagger is definitely not optimal. Yules, you don't want Yules on Puck that early on too. Force Staff probably, and might have been the best item for him in this game, because you're playing versus Night Stalker, Nature's Prophet, and Clockwork, right? So you need to get out of Sprout or Cogs while being silenced. You can't really use your Orb or your second spell Waning Rift to get out.
Yeah, definitely that was one of the issues for Puck, where he gets a Blink Dagger. Maybe a Yule Scepter would have also been a choice. It's a bit more expensive than the Force Staff, but problem is, you know, you need to see how the other lanes are going, where Nature's Prophet just shows up 11 minutes in with the Orchid Power Threads, like, what up, what are you gonna do about it? So they also have this, like, mini global presence, hook shot, Nature's Prophet TPs. It was a really nice hustler game from Clockwork. Love his itemization, where he gets a Glimmer Cape, and we saw it multiple times. He initiates on Tiny. Tiny wants to toss him out, but he already has a Glimmer Cape on him, so he can't get to toss him out. He does not have vision, and then getting a Yule Scepter to be able to dispel things off of him. So, like, really aggressive showing from 496 in game number 1.
Yeah, you just saw T1 and Fnatic stats right there. Just a reminder for what happened.
They didn't want to show this one. It was a little bit too depressing.
Too much.
Yeah,
this one was too much. Itemization on 496 was also much better. Like you said, every item looked decent, looked like it contributed to the team. That Yules on Clockwork, maybe I didn't really get too much. Glimmer Cape definitely. Yules is a little bit awkward.
And I'm going to say something which might be considered controversial, but I don't think the Troll would have been a very good pick that game. I think that the silences would have had the exact same effect on a Troll as it did on the Juggernaut.
Do you play 4 versus 5 then? Because every
yeah,
other
just,
carry
I mean,
was
as a
banned.
carry player, you're kind of just like, you know what, I'm going to sit this one out. I'll join you next game.
Just
Good
don't
luck,
pick
boys.
anything. No, look, the thing is, the biggest issue they had is their offlaner is extremely static, and you have to play around him. Yeah. And you didn't do that. And you're playing versus Clockwork Nature's Prophet. They're constantly TPing behind that Veno, killing him off first. And he has to be that nuisance that creates enough space for your team to counterattack. And they didn't really do that well.
Yeah, one thing that didn't go too well for them in the laning stage, which I think it was a mistake, where Tiny takes the creep wave back to the tower. That's not what you need to do when you're playing with Veno and Tiny. You actually have enough pressure. You are supposed to be the one, just putting the pressure on Ursa, Gale, get him out of the lane, pull the lane back with the side camp. I think that was also the mistake where at one point I checked the CS score and Ursa has more CS than Veno. It should not happen.
They're killing the Ursa, but he's still farming.
Sure.
And it doesn't matter. He rotates away from that lane. Eventually, like, as a Venomancer, what do? You take one tower, then you TP to the other, you plant your wards, you do the same thing. But you cannot do that if you do not have a team fight composition ready and waiting behind you. That's the biggest issue. They were just much, much faster on 496, and their heroes allowed them that.
And so many things went wrong for Vice in that game. Like, they were making ancient stacks. Suddenly, Ursa with the Battle Fury comes in, clears those stacks. So it's kind of hard to, fight into when they're so far ahead. And at one point, like, I love the itemization once again on their side, where at almost the exact same point, they get 3 BKBs on all the cores. And they pretty much have nothing besides the Omni Slash that goes through BKB, so it's very hard for them to take a fight. Like, they had this, I would say, little window of an opportunity to try to go in when they had a Blink Dagger on Tiny. He still had a decent timing on it with the puck, and it just didn't happen, Every single time 496 was the one initiating a fight, so Hustler very well hooks on the heroes.
Quick. They utilized their heroes very nicely, just across the map pressure from 496. Exactly the same thing we've been seeing from them in the qualifiers as well, so not a big surprise to see them coming in and just absolutely running over. They are so good at destroying teams that they can see a weakness in, and they certainly did this time around. Can Vice recover and take game number 2, or at least pose some kind of threat towards 496? Well, that's a question. Your answer is going to be coming up after this short break.
right down to the end of your days. And I'll be right there at the top of the maze while the rats in the sewer stay stuck in the days. So now I'm coming for y'all, whether you look at it or not, you've already gotten involved. Don't take it personal, I gotta finish you off, cause only room at the top for one gun in the drawer.
Well, hello there, and welcome back to the DPC SEA region, where we are into this series, a best of 3, between 496 and Vice Esports. Unfortunately, Vice Esports, you know, they kind of got their mushrooms sauteed a little bit in that first game, but, you know, Lacoste, put yourself in the mentality of the coach. You know, you're in the changing room, it's the halftime show, you give him a slap on the bum. What do you say to him to try to get to, let's say, Bob? Right, he had a bit of a rough game on that part. What are you going to say to him?
My
Bobby
man,
boy?
You need to, you know, be a bit less aggressive, especially against the heroes that have DDs on them. I have one note written for that game. I have a lot of notes, you know, but one note that just stands out is just Bombi. That's it. That's my note, you know, because the man played so well on the Phoenix. You kind of think that Phoenix was actually positioned 4 in that game, considering the amount of work and the farm that he had. Like, he was all over the place, like, doing so much.
Yeah, he was doing so much work in that game on the Phoenix. Between Phoenix and the Night Stalker, Hung as well, just running at people. Felt very difficult for them to actually take a breather. Lizard, you know, Vice Esports, any things they could pull out of the bag here? What would you do in their position if you wanted to try and take them off guard?
There was a bunch of heroes that have been banned out in the first game against them that they couldn't pick and they excel at, like that Kotl, Mirana, Slardar. I would like to see perhaps one of those in their hands, and then you can play the game a little bit easier. But I really think a team such as 496, you need to just take away their wheels. Like, you can't let them play with this Nature's Prophet, with Night Stalker, with Clockwork. One of them needs to go. Like, Night Stalker perhaps is a really good ban because it slows the tempo of the game down, and then just pick a matchup on your position 1 that actually can win in the late game. Why do you last pick Jug into Nursa when there's a troll?
I don't know if you're talking slow, Lizard, but this draft is going pretty fast. You know, while you said what you had to say, we had 4 picks already done.
Mirana.
So
yeah, right.
496 Gaming, they really know how to play with the Earth Spirit. Hustler extremely well, feels very comfortable playing that hero. I think he played 3 out of 4 games before this series, Earth Spirit, and the 1 game of Tiny. So, you know, he knows how to make space, also something that they're not really also... They feel comfortable playing an aggressive tri-lane, both of these teams. They tend to ran it in the last month. So, Vice Esports, IO, plus a Night Stalker.
Yeah, interesting. Like, there's a lot of mobility. They're taking a page out of 496's book, stealing that mobility, that high aggression instantly. But you have to be careful. You are playing into a Winter Wyvern, which is an old school counter to Wisp, a hero that isn't really played a lot right now, and I think one of the sleeper supports.
He got a bit of buff. You know, he actually needed that extra damage in the laning stage, because Winter Wyvern had like 41, I believe. Now it's like 43. It's still a bit of a buff, but
I really like his shard as well. I think his shard is super strong. When the end of Cold Embrace, you fire out some shards and it increases the damage of shards as well.
Not really. I feel
you guys
like
don't like it?
No. I mean, the shards, as seen so far in this tournament, they're very, very situational. There's going to be a better choice.
Yeah. I guess the position 5, we're not going to see it. But I think for, like, if you're playing that split push Wyvern we see sometimes, then it finds its value because you can Cold Embrace the creep.
You're going to always need, like, a better item, whether it's a Blink Dagger, Ether Lens, Glimmer Cape,
whatever,
Eon Disc. Like, so hero's going to... Like, the hero does so much when he's not... the one who's getting jumped first, so you need like to have a defensive tool, or you need to outrange them.
So in the game like this one, I like the 5 Wyvern, but I actually think this hero might be a good position 4. If you remember the Yabzor Wyvern with the Orchid Rush, I think this hero has so much potential on 4 right now.
Witchblade.
Witchblade, Orchid, you just ult someone, you can kill almost any single hero in the mid game on your own.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Given your laning stage goes decently enough. But in this game, you're playing into a Night Stalker, your main focus is to mess up Wisp's game, whatever he's relocating in. Ulti him. So you need mobility and you need evasion versus the Night Stalkers. So your Glimmers, your Aether Lances, Blink Daggers, those are your main concern. And let's see, Timbersaw and Ursa banned out, I believe, by Vice Esports. On the other hand, Nyx and Monkey King. All right, with a Tusk follow-up.
Love this. Tusk, probably my favorite hero, who does so many things. You have BKB piercing ability, you have a save. This save is not an easy to use, especially against Winter Wyvern in this game, but overall feels really good. You have Roche taking potential with the tag team, strong laner, always gonna feel good. Like I think I can say the same thing for Earth Spirit, where both of these heroes, like, no matter the lineup, these two heroes always feel good to have in a team because they can go and do stuff.
What do you like to play better?
Tusk for sure.
Tusk?
Yeah.
Easier.
Easy,
Right?
yeah.
That's it. The old school player. If you ask him between Tusk and Earth Spirit, like.
Rock's get a bit complicated, you know. It's more of a shards kind of guy.
And Weaver is the hero that I think we're gonna see quite more of her, because like the hero does also so many things. Strong laner, I think Falcon Blade is a really good item because you need that mana sustain.
Yeah, true.
And the Maelstrom also got a bit of a buff. This is something that also new Shard, like Shard on Weaver feels good. Not, you know, as
I think it's actually
as
solid.
a core, but once they get to those Glimmer Caves, if you have Invis heroes playing against you, where the Swarm latches on you and it gives vision, so you don't have to carry dust.
No, I actually think it's a core build on Weaver. Eventually you need to get that shard, because it doesn't only provide you with that, you also strike a Geminate attack on the targets that are latched by those little beetles. So it's really good. They picked the Rubik versus Weaver versus... Like, it's a very good Rubik game. Earth Spirit perhaps isn't your best target to steal spells from, but man, Wyvern and Weaver, it's like
you want to
spells galore.
You want to steal that Shikuchi.
Yeah,
if the game's not going well, you can always creep skip, kill the whole wave with the Fate Bolt and the Shikuchi, hard to catch. So that means it's either position 3 Tusk or it's a position 1 IO.
I guess I would say that it's a 1 IO.
1 IO,
yeah, we saw it a couple of times already. Then you have the Night Stalker, a lot of movement speed in these fights later on. It's not that great versus Weaver, though. Weaver overall is a hero that gets on top of you very easily. He itemizes in a way that, maybe not Desolator, but even the Swarm minuses your armor, makes it negative, and Wisp hates playing into that. He's naturally low armor, so if you can get on top of him, like Weaver can be a slight counter.
All right, I noticed a bit of conflict here on the panel. You know, Lizard, you keep calling Weaver he. Lacoste, you keep...
I don't want to go back to that.
Let's not
I've
discuss
said
it.
it
Like
multiple
everyone,
times. You know, lore is that I think it's a he.
It's a he. Yeah, even though it makes babies. I don't know about that, but maybe it's a seahorse.
Yeah, like, what's the problem?
So back to the Batrider. I feel like this is a really good Batrider game because, like, something that Night Stalker doesn't really like to play into. Heroes like a Batrider, possibly Viper. I thought that this might be their off lane, but Batrider could be a much better mid here. If it's a Night Stalker mid, just a general matchup, his turn rate is not that great, so a lot of pressure put in the first 5 minutes.
You can mix things up, right? Like, you can always make way for this Batrider to be playing versus Night Stalker in the lane.
Yep.
Weaver is very flexible when it comes to laning. Mid, off lane, safe lane, it doesn't really matter for this hero. He's going to get his farm. So, nice response by 496. But the mobility on Vice Esports is scary overall. Like the Wisp, the Night Stalker. I fear that they do not have as much damage to cover this mobility as 496 had in that first game. If you remember, first game, Nature's Prophet ulti, Phoenix, and then this mobility comes in for cleanup. Vice Esports right now, they have the mobility, but not necessarily the damage, and their team fight looks very weak.
Alrighty, well, what could this last pick be to patch that up? What are we expecting? What position are we expecting this one to be with the Batrider and the Weaver already taken?
I still feel they are going to get an offlaner for 496. Okay, so they're keeping ticks open. You know, they did not want to reveal anything because Vice has the last pick. If needed, it can be an offlane. Windranger does really well against most of the melee heroes. Even if it's a Wisp, like, you don't care too much about, like, either Tusk rotations, possibly position 5 Rubik rotations. You always have that ability to just run away. And when paired up with Earth Spirit, ton of kill potential.
You can kick her, right, always with Tusk, and there's the AoE silence coming from the Night Stalker, but yeah, it's something that they've played before and it looks decent, but my issue is they're not really sure what they're banning too. Like the Screen of Pain ban, the PL ban, a little bit of mid, a little bit of carry.
They're just covering the Batrider with those.
Exactly, but they're not necessarily sure what YC Sports need in the end.
Because they don't want to show, you know, they just are making Batrider viable in this game. So they're like, we're not revealing where Batrider is going. That's a pretty smart thing to do.
It's a yoga draft. Yeah, very flexible. That's what we like to see. And now we have the Void Spirit coming out as the final pick for Vice Esports. What do we think about this?
It's Bob who's playing it, if I see it correctly, if my eyes are not deceiving me. So, yeah, that's going to be a mid Void Spirit. And
they have enough catch for him. This doesn't look like the best Void Spirit game. There is counters to this Wisp as well. The thing is, like, usually when I see an IO lineup, yeah, you can be position 1, but you need that core from the mid lane that actually brings in some extra oomph, some extra damage and scalability, right? Because you can't itemize into Sanj and Kaya and Ags and Heart and then have a Void Spirit on the mid lane. It just does not work that way. You need a hero that's going to be benefiting from that extra heal during the team fights. Void Spirit, you can't even latch onto him. So Night Stalker is going to have to do some extra heavy lifting, and I just don't believe that he'll be able to do
Alrighty, let's just bring in the casters. We've got B-Cup and Black to join us for the discussion. I know, Lacoste, you want the limelight, but we've got to share it a little bit. Black and B-Cup. Guys, I mean, are you thinking this is better or worse draft than last time for Vice Esports?
I think it might be a little bit better. I think the jug from the troll was very, you know, it's something that we were both expecting. I think you guys were expecting it as well. So this time around, I think I'm leaning 4-9-6. I got burned last time.
You certainly did. You certainly did. What about you, Black?
I mean, I just feel the Void Spirit last pick, as the panel already said, it feels very weak with a carry IO. Like if you have a Monkey King, it makes a lot of sense. Maybe even if you put the Night Stalker middle, it would make it a little bit more sense. But this Void Spirit, you know, it's just a Void Spirit. You can't right click people. Yeah. So I'm going 4-9-6 as well. Simply just based on draft.
4-9-6. 4-9-6.
And Lacoste?
4-9-6.
There you go.
4-9-6. 5-4-9-6. 5 times 4-9-6. I can't work that out. But what we can work out is how this game is going to go down. So I'm going to send it across to the casters. B-Cup and Black, take it away.
Now ready on this second game. It was 40k, a very, very low timing for 4-9-6 in the first game. So second time around, this feels like something that could be potentially a repeat.
Yeah, I mean, a good thing, though, is it can't get much worse.
Yeah.
Like 40k in 29 minutes is a brutal beatdown, and they'll definitely do better this game. I'm very confident.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they have some tools to work with. I'm just afraid if it goes past that minute 25, minute 30, where's the damage going to come from? You know, when this Weaver has BKB, a couple of items, when this Bad Rider has Blink BKB, even the Wind Ranger, I know it's going to go Maelstrom BKB. Where's the damage coming from? It's all spells.
Yeah, you know, we saw the safe lane IO yesterday, and then Raven, who was playing that IO, you had Moon, who was on the Monkey King. That felt like a combination that you could get behind with the IO and the Monkey King. But like you were saying, with the Void Spirit, it doesn't feel as, it doesn't feel as confident as an IO Monkey King. So do you think it's going to be nearly as effective? It just doesn't seem that way, right?
It just seems weird, honestly. As I said, maybe Midnight Stalker can make a little bit of sense because he can actually itemize into right-click damage, you know? But as a Void Spirit, you want to go into like Yules, into Aghanims, into Shiva's Guard, Octarine Code, these kind of items, and they just don't add much to your right-click power, honestly. So, it's just awkward. It's an awkward combination.
How's Bob supposed to do here up against Hung? They've moved Hung here to play the Windrunner, go up against this Void Spirit.
It's a pretty good Void Spirit lane. Pretty skill-based as well, depends on how many power shots you avoid. But generally, he has better last hitting, better lasted damage. as well as better spells to last it with. So usually it goes into the Void Spirit's favor. And then once you hit level 6, you know, it just depends on who rotates better.
And Unryu's down in the bottom lane with this Night Stalker, and it's going to be a different Night Stalker game too. Like, we saw the activation of that Night Stalker very early on, first night, and then once that Nature's Prophet had the Orchid, but you have that Night Stalker getting the soul experience, getting the soul farm. Here he's not in the same situation, probably not going to be as effective in that first night, and I think that leaves maybe things to be desired for Vice, right?
Yep, and it's also not a very easy Night Stalker lane against the Bad Rider plus Earth Spirit. If you ever get like 2 or 3 stickies on you, you're out of position, you can die really easily. Oh, he missed the Remnant. He actually might have gotten a kill there because he doesn't have Wind Run at all on the Wind Ranger.
Yeah, 1-2-0 so far.
Yep, very aggressive build. But yeah, now the aggression is over. Both will have the bottle soon. Are you actually picking bottom?
I think they're looking to play some musical lanes. Yeah, at least that's what it looks like so far.
This Night Stalker just wants to get away from the Bad Rider, I feel. It's a very rough lane. And also IO against Weaver doesn't sound that fun. But then again, Night Stalker against Weaver doesn't sound that fun either. I mean, just Weaver's an unfun hero.
And the thing too is, like, Bad Rider could still make that move over towards top. It would be really bad if you lose the Wisp just TPing down here. Tag team was used, Red in a little trouble. He backs off this Tusk. But will we see the Weaver and the Bat Changers, their matchup just fine enough where they could keep it where it's at?
Their matchup is just fine enough. I mean, Weaver will bully both of those heroes, so he doesn't really have to change anything. And Bad Rider, I mean, you see IO can't really die to Bad Rider because he has his tether ability, but he'll still farm just fine and still pressure the IO. So lanes should be okay. It will just be coming down to the Void Spirit, honestly.
Going for Red again. They'll use the Snowball. They have the tag team First Blood for Palos. Vice, they get themselves First Blood, but at the same time, Hustler's over mid, and they get the kill on a Bob. A little bit of a similar situation in the first game where we saw, you know, the fact that Bob was getting decent CS, but that didn't really translate into, you know, the proper mid game.
Yep. And just one thing that we forgot to mention. This IO Tusk lane is actually incredibly strong. Tag team plus overcharge is you have so much attack speed, so much damage, and you know Bad Rider again in trouble, and same thing.
Back to back, and he probably just TP'd in there, so that means it's the walk of shame.
This overcharge ability is just too good with tag team. Like you actually, it's a permanent slow because you have so much attack speed that you can't move at all. You have a snowball on top, you have ice shards on top if he doesn't have Firefly. It's a very, very good combination.
So the Night Stalker actually just TP'd back to the tier 1 tower up towards top. He was getting harassed. Is that a moment now where you have maybe Bat Rider walk towards top, swap the lane, have Weaver go bottom?
It is definitely worth a consideration now because he only has 8 CS, 2 deaths already.
Yeah.
And a Bad Rider, you need to have some sort of game, you know? You're not like a super good catch-up hero because you can't farm the Ancients anymore. A lane swap might be in order, yeah. But even then, it's nighttime soon. So you want to go to a Night Stalker at nighttime? Tough now.
Especially when you're behind at this point. Like, Night Stalker's 19-2. His lane has been a little bit more of an easier situation after alleviating the pressure that was that Bat Rider.
Yep.
So you could just be walking into another bad situation. It almost feels like Bat Rider. His lane is, he's having a bad situation, and his laning is not looking good.
Yeah, honestly, the first death already, he was just caught out of position with half health. That shouldn't have happened. And second death is pretty, you know, unforgiving because you just TP'd back. Like, if you die again, TP has 80 seconds cooldown. You now have a Walk of Shame with 8 CS. I mean, I'm not sure, honestly, where his impact is going to come from at this point. Because he's not supposed to lose bot lane this hard.
Yeah, it's definitely an issue. And you're having a good time for Vice. To take something away from that first game for Vice, their first 7-8 minutes was decent.
It was good. It was good. There's just once 496 started the aggression, Vice could not deal with it. But this game, I think they're probably going to be a bit more prepared for it mentally, as well as strategically also. They have good heroes to fight back this time. They have quite good counter initiation with the IO, relocate out, have Snowball, Nighttime with the Silence. They have a lot of good tools, for sure.
And maybe we'll see Vice being the aggressors on this one.
I think they will be, because 496's late game, I feel, is quite a bit better. So they can be comfortable with just, letting them run at you, and you just kind of respond. But again, it's not 496's style, Like, they want to be the ones running at you. So either way, they will probably start running at you. Like, this is just how this team plays. They don't pick any hard carries or anything.
You definitely have the lineup to run at them, right? You've got that long-range initiation, that reach from the Earth Spirit, where he could just roll in, start with that, and then maybe you've got the Windrunner following that up with a Shackle, and then Weaver's there. Like, they could definitely pull that situation where it's 496, and we're just going to run at you the entire time and jump down your throats and make sure that we slow down any progression that you're making.
Yep. And again, Weavers is one of the most aggressive carries. Like, with a spammable Tsukushi, he has a lot of potential, especially against this Io and Rubik. At the same time, though, he has to be very careful he doesn't give the Tsukushi away, because a Rubik with that spell is incredibly potent for setting up ganks, just for teamfight damage, survivability. It's just an amazing spell to steal on Rubik, so gotta be careful to not give that away too easily.
Taking a look at these Ags and Ags shards around the board. The Swarm on that Ags shard and the time-lapse with the Ags.
His shard is
worth
one
getting?
of the better ones, because Glimmer Cape doesn't help anymore, because it goes through invisibility. So it's a pretty good anti-support item, as well as every person where the Beetle is latched onto, you auto-attack them once with Gemini attack. So it's a pretty good increase in DPS, and as I said, it counters a couple of support items.
So if you're getting shard on Weaver, obviously that's a 1,400 gold investment. Where are you getting that? Obviously, there's a point where you need to wait for 20 minutes, then you can get the shard. But what is that replacing? Because, like, say with a Wraith King who maybe is dealing with mana burn, he has to get that 1,400 gold shard. And that's immediately 20 minutes. I need it. I'll get it. But for this Weaver, is that as simple as that, or is he looking for 1 or 2 items before that?
Earliest, like, I would ever buy it is after Maelstrom BKB. But you need those 2 core items. Maelstrom, of course, to farm faster. BKB just so the Night Stalker doesn't run you down.
Yeah.
And after those 2 items, you could get it, but then again, there's probably better items to get. You could upgrade to a Glebnir, or you could just go into a Crystallis, maybe even a Skadi if you want that, or MKB. There's lots of good choices. And the shard always, it feels probably nice to have it, but 1,400 is a hefty investment.
I think that's a lot of what people miss. They're like, oh, the shard is so broken. But you still have to make the investment.
Yeah.
And where you're putting that investment, how you're getting to that investment is a big part of a lot of these heroes. Can they even get to that point where it's like, I've got 1,400 gold. Do I sacrifice that to get my shard? Or am I in a position where I need something else?
Yeah. I think the best shards are the ones that replace like core items. For example, on the Shaker, the shard basically allows you to not need a Blink Dagger. So that's like a really good investment because it's cheaper and it's somewhat of a replacement. But like this more luxury shards, it's hard to justify to get them. As we see the chase here on a Earth Spirit, it's rolling out.
Yeah, rolls out and then goes right back and around because they've got Hung coming over. That Shackle doesn't land, but the power shot is there. They'll take out the Rubik. They'll end up losing Hustla, but will they get on Ryu? Aether Remnant locks up Hung. He'll still put some aggression onto Bob. He's got the help from Bombi.
Careful with the Shackle. Oh no!
Yeah, there's the Shackle power shot. They stood next to each other. It's always the one in the back.
Always. But what was that? They knew he had a Shackle.
Lined up right for it.
They were like, yo, I'm here. Shackle me. All right, I'll do that. That was pretty silly. I don't know.
And that really helps Hung's game out.
It does. Like, he was not supposed to get that kill there. Wow. That one kill on the Rubik, okay, fine. But the second one on Night Stalker was pretty unnecessary.
Yeah, the +1 is where it really becomes detrimental. So they'll bring the Night Stalker over on Ryu here with Bob and
back
the
mid again.
Tusk of Zenki.
Ooh.
Astral Step, Snowball coming in. They've got 3 heroes here for this kill onto Hung. It's aggression over mid, and they needed to stop that Windrunner. You give him 2 kills like that, you need to get something back.
Yeah, question just, nice Rune Snack share. Very well done. But did they really need that Night Stalker? He's level 4, and it's beat mid lane. And he's just kind of pulling creeps now. I'm not sure what he's doing, to be honest, but I guess they just want to pressure the mid tower as much as they can. But, like, you're giving up a lot if you're just Night Stalker. you had a pretty good game, and now you're kind of just... Oh, a good Shackle.
Yeah, Shackle and the roll. But now the one in trouble is the Earth Spirit. Hustle, he commits to this. They've got Anryu here again, who's looking to go under the tower and use that geomagnetic grip. They'll go into the dissimulate. Now they'll find themselves hung with the snowball. They bring over Palos. They've got the damage and the kill. 5 heroes for Vice. With
now,
Bombi showing up, and yeah, it's completely turned from the last game. Bombi on the run, 3 heroes going past the tier 1 tower. He should be able to get some damage onto Bombi, but the question is, do they get the kill? Roll missing, splitting the seams of the entire side of Vice, but here comes DPC. Hustle in trouble once again. They'll get the kill onto the Earth Spirit, dead for like the 2nd time this fight. Snowball onto DPC, and now their focus goes onto the Tusk, but he'll just TP away. They'll relocate the rest. That is a great exit from Vice.
Very great exit, very great rotations as well. Now they're the ones, you know, putting the aggression onto 496, actually. Very impressive. The way they rotated, the way they fought that fight. Of course, we could tell the Bad Rider is just way too poor to do anything. He's still level 5. If he was level 6, he could have probably done a lot more, you know, but being level 5, you saw him come in there at the end, he just couldn't do anything, he just TP'd out.
Yeah, there's not much for him to do, and I thought maybe for a moment that might be like a lot of commitment from Vice. You got 5 heroes there opening up the map, but once the Weaver and the Bat Rider come in and join, and they're not just farming, they're not just getting their experience, it feels like maybe, you know, the commitment's fine.
Yeah, I mean, usually overcommitment is just bad if the enemy does not respond, you know, but if they also send more resources there, then it's usually pretty worth it. Okay, looks like a pretty easy kill on the Wyvern.
Aether Remnant, Astral Step, Hung looking for the ult. He's not really doing that much damage though. Zanky, Tusk, probably the one who ends up dead, but he's got the snowball back to the lane. They'll look for the roll. They've got the power shot. Finally, Zanky drops, and Hung at least gets something out of that.
Yep.
Meanwhile, you've got Wisp, who's still farming. He's at about 4K. He's having a great time going into that Ags after the Helm of the Dominator. Always have that neutral with him.
Yeah, it's just so good, man. 500 movements be permanently. And yeah, you can just see this Wind Ranger. Her ult actually just tickles people without that javelin. It's like, what, 10, 15, 20 damage per hit is really laughable. And I'm surprised he didn't, you know, try to go for this javelin a bit earlier. But yeah, he will have it soon. 300 gold, and he can start to make some moves by himself as well.
Yeah, I think he had it queued, but then the aggression came in, he died.
Yeah,
and it just put him so far back, because it would have been a good timing after that those 2 kills in the river, and then they were like, well, we can't get him to this javelin, we have to aggress on him, and that's exactly what they did. They slowed it down. It was really
up now.
Nicely put together by Vice.
Yep.
Those
They
smoke,
saw
they're
the
trying to make
smoke.
something happen.
They saw the smoke. So they're setting up very nicely on it for the high ground.
Yeah, the Tusk is there in a great spot to just break the smoke. And I think he did on the Windrunner. They're still going to go, though. They've got the silence onto the Weaver. Can they get him out? No, the Crippling Fear is long enough. It's nighttime, and Vice all ready to go. Hustle getting low. It's not going to be enough from the Cold Embrace to save his life. Shackle comes through. They've also got the Bat Rider here. They'll take the Night Stalker. They lose Bombi. The chase is on. Looking for Red. But Bat Rider, he should be okay as long as he doesn't step right back into these heroes on Vice. Still, though, 3 dead on the side of 496, and losing that Weaver is the big one.
Yep. Has a relocate. I would have liked to see that relocate to pick up the bounty runes, to be honest. Instead, he destroyed it with his neutral creep. Because honestly, that's one of the best things you can do when you IO.
Oh, going in for the Bat Rider.
Is he gonna get a solo kill?
Yeah, tag team with Walrus Punch. He gets it.
All right, easy.
Power shot.
Oh! That was not charged. If that was charged a little bit longer.
I don't know if he had the time. Right as that power shot came in, he was already gone.
Yep, that was a super close one. But now, you see, Vice is suddenly the team that just outplays 496. Completely different from game 1. Then the Winter Wyvern again, one more Astral Step.
This Winter Wyvern, they throw out the Winter's Curse. They've got the control on the 2. Is he going to set up the Shackle? Maybe they can get them together. It's only onto the Void Spirit. The right-click damage coming in, but it's not enough just yet. The Astral Step away. They get the kill on the Bombi. Now they look over at Bomb of the relocate. Just in the nick of time. Hustle is over here. But I'm not sure he's going to be ready for that. Walrus Punch on DPC. Go after Zanky. They have the Aether Remnant right on to Hustler, goes through the Dissimulate, looks for some distance between him and the side of 496, but continuing to roll in his Hustler. DPC looking for something there, and they're just coming away with their hands empty.
Yeah. I mean, they're outplaying them pretty damn
Snowball
hard right
tag
now.
team, Astral Step, Hustler dead, DPC, he might be able to get 2 here. They've come into his hands, but the Aether Remnant with the Dissimulate. Now the Shikuchi, power shot misses, but he goes up the hill, he spots the Wisp, he says,
Yeah.
keep your life.
Io is... it's so scary to play against Io, honestly. You never know how much he's actually going to heal you, so take your distance, take your time, patience, but this Bad Rider is absolutely crippled.
Yeah,
What is he going? Did he go for Blink first?
pretty far behind.
No, he went for Travels. Okay. Picking up Travels when you're struggling this much is usually...
Roll in, look for Palos. This would be a massive kill. Geomagnetic Grip. They've got the silence, the snowball. So that saves, and this is the counterplay. They've got the Void Spirit ready to go. They'll use that Walrus Punch on the Earth Spirit. They're still trying to get on the Palos. They'll use the Shikuchi, but the Weaver, the Spirits, they get the kill. Winter's Curse, it's on the Night Stalker. They finally finish off Palos. They look over as the Shackle's not going to connect to anything, but Onryu falls to red. So they've got a 2 for 2 so far. They'll look for more. They hit the lasso that was stolen. The Rubik completely takes Windrunner out of the fight for a second, but it's not going to be enough. They lose Bob, they lose Zenki. Might be a full team wipe, will be a full team wipe. 496 massively coming back with that one, and now the lead's just 1K.
Bombi God. Did you see that Winter's Curse? He literally killed 2 people by himself, pretty much.
And
wow,
the
he
Winter's
caught
Curse.
4 heroes. This guy is legit. Like, he's
Yeah.
gonna get picked up. If they don't make it big, he's gonna get picked up by some really big teams.
496, they look like one of those teams that's a dark horse. So let's take a look at that handiwork once again. Bombi was ready for it, and look, it looked like a moment where maybe Vice can take advantage of this. They got the snowball, they go in aggressive, it did save the life of the Wisp. Maybe they didn't want Palos there, but look as they start to group up. Onryo right in the center, there's the Winter's Curse, the Splinter Blast comes through, it's off the creeps, keeps it next to Palos, gets the kill on the Wisp. It's perfect work from Bombi. The stolen lasso from the Rubik I thought was going to be enough to maybe get the damage out. They have the snowball to follow it up on the Windrunner, but just not enough. As they finish off Bob, they take out Zenki, and then they take out this Rubik, and they get the full team wipe. That brings them right back into the game. They were struggling.
They were 4K behind. Now they're only 1K behind, and yeah, they're getting their core items up, trying to dive the Winter Wyvern here.
Bombi's a little bit scary.
The guys... Do you really want to dive him? Or is he going to dive you? Ooh. The Weaver is struggling, though. Weaver is quite poor.
Yeah. This could be something that helps him out, though. They have the Shackle. They'll look for the damage. Palos in some trouble. The focus fire on him. It's Hung who gets the kill. Weaver there to help magnetize.
Oh, the Firefly.
On the Rubik. Yeah, Firefly's not going to help you get out of that one, though. Hustler getting the second kill in that bottom lane. Meanwhile, Winter Wyvern.
Yep, they commit the nighttime for that, or rather the Dark Ascension. Scary name.
It really is.
It is, right?
Yeah.
Like when he starts flying, like, you run.
I think Night Stalker himself is a very scary hero. If you experience that in the wild, that actually existed, one of the scarier ones.
If he gets his shard, he would just outright eat you. Because that's actually what his shard does. You just get eaten.
I don't need that.
Same. I don't want to get eaten like that. I don't want to get eaten at all. Not like that only, but just saying, that is the most brutal way.
That's one of the ways you don't want to go, is getting eaten.
By a Night Stalker.
Brood, definitely one of those ones you don't want to get eaten by.
Yep.
So, Yules for the Void Spirit, then going into the Ags. We'll have that silence once he gets that Ags.
Yep.
One of the things that I think that is a bit of a problem for 496 is the Cold Embrace almost feels like it's setting up an Aether Remnant every time.
Sabotage? Yeah, but at the same time, it nullifies the damage out pretty much. Tusk is all physical, Night Stalker is pretty much all physical. When Io has Aghanims, you have to be really careful though, because those spirits, they will hurt. And if you Cold Embrace someone of your teammates and he's out of position, that's going to be very painful. Did he finish his axe already? I think he did. About to come out in the courier. And now they have this axe timing on this Io. Doesn't have the spirit damage yet. Still quite a while off. But yeah, now it's go time for Radiant, I think. Because they're getting picked apart right now.
They should be able to fight into them until what, the BKB comes out for the Windrunner as well as the Weaver?
Yeah, they definitely need to use the timing where, you know, this Weaver is pretty weak. The Bad Rider doesn't have his BKB. They're going for 3 BKBs basically. A little pick off here.
Oh, great flame break into the lasso. I always enjoy seeing that combination. Snowball to extend his life. Is it extending the inevitable? Looks to be the case. Shackle lands, power shot, the finishing blow. But meanwhile, Winter Wyvern, Bombi throws the Winter's Curse defensively. They're going to rotate over the Windrunner into the mid-tier 2. See if that ends up being enough, because they might turn this around. Shackle doesn't connect. Focus fire. Night Stalker coming in, and I think Hung has had enough.
There was a huge commitment. He was like, Shackle ult.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what he thought he would catch there. Bad Rider a little bit in trouble here.
Silence, crippling fear, and now steals the win run. They've got the telekinesis on a Hung. They're trying to take this fight. Bob's getting really low. Astral step away. Not sure that's going to be enough. They've got the time lapse used by this Weaver.
Io saves them again.
Shards on a Bombi. Snowball, Cold Embrace once again. Shackle connects. It's the Night Stalker in the back once again. Power shot not charged too much. Ether Remnant placed down. They've got to magnetize on all 5 heroes. They're going to go in. They'll take out 4. The only one alive is Palos, and just like that, it's another team wipe for 496.
There was so much AoE damage by this Earth Spirit. He magnetized 5. He slowed 5. He silenced 5. Wow. What is happening? Like, the supports are popping off, man.
Yeah, that was perfect.
But it all started off with the
Hustler.
Shackle, which was an amazing Shackle. To Shackle a Night Stalker when he's flying is brutal. But, wow. Oh, and then a disconnect by Vice. This feels bad. This is moral damage right there. Mental damage, you know. You get wiped and then you disconnect. Whew.
Let's watch it again. Let's watch the handiwork.
Look at the Shackle.
Pay attention to the Earth Spirit, everybody. This is where it's going to get brutal for Vice, who have, up to this point, played really well. I think they just didn't really keep it together. They looked for red, then they saw Hung. They had the telekinesis. They switched their targets a couple times. They're a little bit back and forth. Where are we fighting? Where are we going? They're trying to heal up Bob. They're going to go through here. Shards.
Comes the
That's
Shackle.
a big commitment from the Tusk, and then the Shackle. They'll try and help, and immediately Earth Spirit, he's on the case. Here it comes, all 5 of them just right together. Geomagnetic grip onto everybody into this magnetize. Flame break, I think, hit all 5 too. They just kill off all these heroes on Vice, and that is the combo from 496. Wow. That is perfectly put together. It is rare that you see a 5-man magnetize like that.
Yeah.
With no like Magnus help or any other help. That was, everybody was positioned. I'm going to throw that magnetize and the geomagnetic grip. I don't know when the last time, if at all, I've ever seen a 5-man geomagnetic grip.
Not only that, also the Q, of course, his Boulder Smash slowed all 5 heroes, deals massive amounts of damage.
Yeah.
He just rolled into 5 heroes. They were all so clumped up. Power shot through the, what's it called?
The flame break as well.
Flame break, yeah, and
just
the
about
blast. What's it called? The splitter blast?
Yeah.
Splittering blast, whatever. So much AoE damage. Brutal.
Take a look at
Brutal
Hustle's
performance.
stats. 12 assists, 3 kills. He's had 6 stats up to this point, but when you're mostly leading the charge, your Bat Rider's struggling to get a Blink Dagger, you're the one who has to roll in and initiate, you're going to die a couple times.
Yep. And then you make plays like this. Doesn't matter how many
it's
times
all
you
worth
die.
it.
Yep.
Yep. G ready to go. Everybody back for the side of Vice, who were in the driver's seat. They looked really good. It's a bad fight. That's
Second bad fight.
Yeah, it's a back-to-back.
They were ahead 4K.
Look at the experience.
Yeah. Now they're behind 4K. Experience massively in favor of 496. And when they get the 3 BKBs up, it's lights out for Radiant. They have no damage.
Yeah, and this is going to be where 496 put in and initiate the game plan. Aggression.
Yeah. Blink Dagger on the Wyvern, by the way.
Yeah, get that positioning. Look for the Winter's
rich.
Curse.
He's rich.
Yeah.
How did he get that?
He's ahead of the Earth Spirit by 100 gold.
Yeah.
And he's almost where the Void Spirit is. That's pretty interesting, too. I'm just
Void
shocked
Spirit's
at where
struggling.
the Void Spirit's just continuing to struggle. That seems like... Yeah, I thought he was having a much better game than that.
Yeah, Bob is having a rough series for sure.
Yeah, well, the first game was certainly rough, and now the second one. There's still time he can get to that Axe, and things could turn around. I'm not saying this game is over by any means for Vice, but that is a massive turnaround for 496 that was played on perfect execution, especially by Hustler.
Now he has a Vessel up as well. And yeah, I mean, they just kind of want to sit back and counterplay all the aggression of Radiant right now because they want to farm up the 3 BKBs. Once they have the 3 BKBs, it's going to be all out aggression time. Probably a Roshan. They just want to force a Roshan fight. But until then, you just want to split push the map and, you know, minimize the damage they can deal around the map.
Yeah, we saw that Rubik took the power shot. That's always a strong one to throw back. Full duration power shot. It feels like one of the best skills that he can get in this game. Especially, you know, anything you get from Earth Spirit, you're not really utilizing the right ways if you're a Rubik. Power shot feels like the one. You said Chikuchi is really good because then he can be a nuisance. He can find good positioning, and then like Lasso.
Yes, and Shackle Shot is one of the best as well. Wind Ranger has a whole array of good spells to steal.
Yeah, for sure. It feels like a good Rubik game.
Without vision, though.
Yeah, it's tough. They've got the silence out of the Weaver. Zenki thinking about jumping in, but Dappy B now going after Onryu. The shards don't block him out. They're going to have a roll here from Hustla. Swarm hits. Onryu in trouble. The Shikuchi on him. The boulder smash. Geomagnetic grip's not needed. They get the kill there onto Onryu. They take out Zenki. It's hung with another kill. And here's the aggression that we were talking about. 496 immediately jumping into the deep end and looking to put the pressure on Device.
Yeah, well, I said they were going to play it lasso just like that, okay.
Flame break into the lasso. He's hit that combo a couple times. It's not going to get the kill just yet, but you're having heroes rotate. They're ready to go on to Bob. He'll use the dissimulate, go back to the high ground, right into the Firefly. He ends up dead, and they've got the chase. They get the kill. They look for more. They find the Rubik, and they take out 4, looking for a 5th, and there it is, the roll with the magnetize. They've got the Spirit Vessel. Oh, the rolling boulder stops him in his tracks. No tether for you. And now Onryu's trying to turn this one around with a power shot. It's not going to do enough damage to get the kill. They've got the Snowball to take out this Earth Spirit, but they're still looking to go in deep. They'll find themselves Palace, but they don't have the damage. The Weaver not committing under the tier 2 tower. The power shot comes in. Onryu, a lot of these heroes on the side of Vice running away with barely any health.
Yeah, that was a sick play by the Earth Spirit, but you know, sometimes when you have this kind of plays, it's like it baits you into a bad situation. Because like, wow, I cancel that thing, and then he like starts diving him, you know, which of course in the end cost him and his teammates his life. But yeah, it was a sick play nonetheless. Oh, he stole Sakushi.
Yeah, he's trying to stick up with him. He dusted him too. But again, make one of those good plays, and it puts you in a bad position where now you're dead.
Man, you hate to see it.
The Dappy B tip after that.
I mean, he was just. You know, he was feeling himself on Rubik. I got the spell. He just
that
drives
happens
in.
on Rubik. You steal a spell, you land something, you got the dust, and all of a sudden you're like, Rubik he's a pretty strong support. You want to just go in there and make something happen, make a play. Because there's so many good Rubik players, it feels like you're always living into, you know, the legend that is all these like FYs and everybody.
FYGH, all these players, yeah. And then you realize, I just have 900 health. I'm not actually that tanky. Now they're going to Roshan. They have Beetles, they have Focus Fire.
Winter's Curse.
Yeah. And there's no nighttime on Radiant. So this is a tough fight to take for Radiant.
Yeah, Dark Ascension on cooldown.
Yep.
Going for this Roshan, also looking to maybe defend it and go for a fight. They don't have to exactly finish right away, but they've got the lasso. Now the snowball comes in. Roche sitting very low, the power shot coming through. They don't get the kill onto the Void Spirit just yet. The Aegis is picked up by Hung. Now they'll look to finish off the rest. They take out Bombi. The Witcher's Curse is going to keep Palace in place. Dissimulate onto the high ground. Can they get Bob away? A couple more shots might be enough. The rolling boulder in. Bob ends up dead. It's a 1-for-1 so far, but here comes the rest of 496. Flamebreak pushes them back. They've got the snowball going through onto the bat rider with the power shot hitting out of Palace. They look over as they relocate out. They're out of the sight of 496 for now, but eventually let's see them come back.
Run. Marathon. Yeah, you definitely just want to disengage here. It's way too scary with the Io just coming back with full health.
Yeah.
Who also managed to farm up a BKB. He's actually leading the net worth still by quite a bit, even though they have been under so much pressure.
Yeah, the fact that they're down 8,000 net worth and still you've got a Wisp top of the net worth. There are different scenarios where you've got heroes that can definitely hold the game when they're top of the net worth and the rest of the team's really not got a lot of farm, but I don't know if Wisp feels like that kind of hero that can carry 4 other heroes on his back to victory.
I mean, we spoke about it, right? If you don't have at least one partner that you can actually empower and make use of, Io feels kind of meh in the late game, the late mid game as well. So we'll see. Like, Nightstalker will have to step up. Oh, they're smoking him from behind here.
Trying to come in from the back. Onryu leading the charge.
And Aegis. That's not the target you want.
Fight.
Yeah. They might just want to... Oh,
Palace going for the tower.
But, yeah, Shackle.
Shackle thrown out. It's not going to connect, though. They're still going to go for this. They've got the Rubik coming around. They have the telekinesis. They'll have Onryu jump forward, but he's going to the backlines. He's looking for the Winter Wyvern. He wants to take the Winter's Curse as well as the Cold Embrace out of the fight. The power shot comes in as well as the Shackle onto the Night Stalker. They have the control. Onryu in trouble. There's the Cold Embrace and Night Stalker. He's tried to bite off more than he can chew, especially in the nighttime with the bigger mouth.
He has no BKB, be careful.
Magnetized, geomagnetic grip, the roll once again. They've got the Spirit Vessel, telekinesis coming through from Samuel. Hustler, shackled. That's the stolen shackle from Rubik. He's starting to feel himself. There's the snowball, and one more right click from Palos. But the power shot, oh, the damage not quite there. They'll use the Walrus Punch to slow down this Batrider, but the shackle connects. The damage is there, and eventually he will fall. But they got the shackle onto the Batrider as well as the as well as the Windrunner. They get the kill onto this toss. They'll take out the Rubik. They'll look for another one. Bob falling. They tried to re-engage. Again, the shackle hits the Windrunner as well as the Batrider. And it's like, oh, this is our moment to jump in. It's almost like every time they land something that feels like that turnaround, they commit so heavily to it, and it's not working out.
Yeah, I mean, this was a fantastic play by Bombi once again. A fantastic curse with the blink initiation. I mean, we said they're outplaying 496, but now the tables turned again. 496 is outplaying them in every team fight, pretty much. And it's all getting set up, honestly, by Hustler. Even though he's dying, you know, he's setting up good fights for his team. So those are not bad deaths at all.
Yeah. If your death garners kills in result, I think it's fine.
Especially for support.
Yeah.
Because like, there's not much to give away.
Yeah, if it's a different story when it's like the Weaver dies and you get 2 kills and
yeah.
Well, but if it's just the Earth Spirit and then you could turn that around, that's fine.
Definitely.
There are moments still, like, I understand that Vice is down 12k, but there are still moments where it's like a flash in the pan. They look really good, things get hot for them real quick, but then it falls apart really fast. Like that shackle from the Rubik was onto the Windrunner. It connected with the Batrider. It kept that fight, I think, winnable, but at the end of the day, it doesn't go their way, and it feels like that's just circumstance of the fact that Night Stalker and Void Spirit don't have really that much farm compared to the Wisp.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem right now is just that they're quite disconnected. You saw the Night Stalker was diving the Wyvern alone.
Yeah,
and
nobody
then
came to help him.
They drip in one by one, you know? They're not 5 there. Like, if you want to match the aggression of 496, we saw it last game, you need to bring all the numbers, which is exactly what I did in the early game, and they smashed 496's aggression, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what you have to do, even now, if you're behind. That's the only way to combat this aggression.
And you can't be sprinkling in one by one. It has to be a full commitment. Your communication has to be there. There's the Crippling Fear, and again, the Night Stalker is really deep going to the backlines, but he's not going to land as the Winter Wyvern blinks away. I think it was a blink forward trying to make an aggressive play, but they've got the Witcher's Curse that's on the Palace, as well as the Night Stalker, who's in a lot of trouble. Bombi with the Cold Embrace. He's going to survive for a little bit longer. They've got the Silence onto the Night Stalker. As they take out Palace, they'll take out the Rubik. They've got themselves 3 heroes dead, as Tusk had fallen earlier. Onryu drops, and that is nobody gone on the side of 496. Again, aggression hurting Vice. The play, the idea is there, the execution isn't. No. If they just tweak it a little bit, you could see those fights turning and maybe being in their favor. I would say a lot tougher at this point when you're down this much, but
definitely
earlier on, that's where the communication kind of melted down, and if they had succeeded with that execution earlier, it could have been a whole different story.
Yeah. But even this fight, you know, they're taking this fight, but Void Spirit is not even part of it. He's farming mid lane. If he was there, the Winter Wyvern is dead. The curse on the IO won't happen, and maybe it's a completely different fight, you know. Just bring all your numbers.
Tusk getting spotted out, Snowball, Walrus Punch trying to get some time to leave, but the roll is in once again. The shards don't matter. They've also got the lasso onto the Rubik. This should mean another kill. It will be. Crippling Fear, the jump forward one by one by one. They are trickling into this fight, and each time they're losing their life.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, probably it's a lot of mental damage caused already.
I think it could be a little bit of frustration too. We've seen them disconnect 3 or 4 times, and that could really, I know sometimes if I disconnect from a game, it pulls me out mentally sometimes.
I mean, especially after the team fight middle, where like 3 of them disconnected after they got team wiped. Like this sets a lot of people on edge, you know. Like you already lost this fight, and then you have like internet problems too, or whatever it was. It's just
your mind is not fully focused. It's worrying about another thing, which is, am I going to lag? Is this a problem? You're not able to just keep everything tunneled into the game. And that's another feat that you have to kind of, another obstacle you have to get over.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's really hard.
Like honestly, half of Dota, I'm sure at this point we all know it's just mental. Oh, good shackle on 2 again.
Yeah, shackle onto the Night Stalker as well as this Wisp. Io's going to pop the BKB. Palace trying to run, but the damage is there. They've got the kill from DatBB. Over to the Night Stalker again. Onryu on the run, but can't make it out. And once upon a time was a moment where he could fly over the trees and make the escape. Not this time.
I mean, even just plays like relocating in to just hit the tier 1 tower gets punished so severely. Like they're in the head 100%. The shackle shot amazing on both the IO and the Night Stalker once more. And it just, like, the rotation seems so seamless, you know?
Yeah.
Like everything they do just works out.
It's an extension from that first game.
Yeah.
We talked about their execution. We talked about their movements. It felt like they had heroes that naturally have global presence, but in the end, it's 496 who have just used their movements and used their communication to execute so well. And it really has been close to perfect.
Yeah.
Bat Rider spotted, but
no
he's got the lasso. They'll get the kill on the Bob. Another pickoff for 496. Meanwhile, Crippling Fear, they're just trying to chase. Seems like maybe a little bit of, anger coming their way, or they're just trying to make up for all this lost ground, and it's not looking right. Onryu, he dies, and then they go after Zanky, finishing off the Tusk. 3 heroes dead again, and this is knocking right on the bottom tier 3. They'll look over the Rubik. The Flame Break pushes him back. They've got the Shackle. It doesn't connect anywhere, however, and Palos trying to make something happen, but he really can't do much. They get the kill onto this Rubik. He'll buy back immediately. The Winter's Curse is placed on him, keeping him in place. And now Dire, they start to retreat. The buyback's starting to trickle through as they've got the Void Spirit up in about 5 seconds. Cold Embrace staying alive. Power Shot coming in onto the Tusk. This is Vice trying to throw everything in the kitchen sink, but they've just got a tiny home, and it's not a lot.
Yep.
This relocate could be punished again.
Trying to at least.
Oh! Potentially.
One guy's gonna die.
Yeah, at least the Tusk is gone. Zanky getting taken out.
I'm a big fan of the itemization as well on Dire side. First time we have seen Fnatic carry IO. They did not build Vessel, they did not build Skadi, they did not build Shivas. This game they have Skadi as well as Vessel, which just makes IO so much weaker. Like the healing on yourself and your teammates is just cut, like what, by half, even more.
Shackle on the money again, and they'll look for Bob once more. Bombi, he's killed by Onryu. They had heroes down there. They left the Winter Wyvern by himself. Windrunner unable to help out, but Windrunner now coming over. Focus Fire throws the Shackle. This is a little aggressive by himself. We'll see if it ends up paying off. They get the kill onto the Rubik, and it is certainly paying off for now. Crippling Fear right on top of the Earth Spirit. The silence is there, the damage too. They get the kill. He'll finish off the pipe, but he's dead for 67 seconds. No buyback. Palace pops the BKB, turns around, going for Hung.
No BKB.
And, well, Onryu, he's getting burned alive by this Bat Rider. Body blocked and will burn out. Red gets the kill. They look over at Palos. The Centaur stuns him up, but he's got a BKB. He has the lasso ready to go. He'll hold him in place. They'll keep him right next to the Bat Rider, and finally joining them is DatBB. He'll go after Palos, who's trying to TP out, but the damage comes in just in time, and Wisp is gone again.
Yep, very close to getting out of there, but Skadi just, applying that heal reduction, so he can't make it out in time.
Itemizing perfectly.
Yep, very good itemization. Very good team play, honestly. 496's team play is just amazing. Like you just see it all the time. They just bring enough people to every location just so they can make it work. And then at the same time, they go in another spot. And then they go in another lane again. They go in another lane again. It's just so hard to keep up if you're the enemy team.
Yeah, this performance is screaming Dark Horse.
Dark Horse.
We're aiming for that major spot.
Yep.
And here we are.
I mean, Vice, or maybe a curse here. No, just not in time. Vice is not considered one of the best teams in this upper division, of course, but
it's still a statement.
This is how you want to dismantle teams, that are considered quote-unquote weaker, if you want to be a contender for that major spot. And they're showing it here. They're relentless.
Shikuchi, DatBB, he'll just Shikuchi away himself. Again, they're knocking on the door. Winter's Curse locks up the Void Spirit as well as the Night Stalker.
Shackle.
They are both in trouble with the Shackle on them again. Tusk joins this fight, but it's just to die. They get the kill into Bob, Onryu, and Zanky, taking out all three. They'll buy back on the Night Stalker, but you're fighting 3 into 5. Probably not the best scenario, as the BKB's been popped by the Bat Rider. The Crippling Fear is about to run out. And again, the Dire can just reinitiate. Flame Break, Lasso comes through onto Palos. He's tethered up, but it's not going to be for long. Palos pops the BKB. The damage coming through from Hung, and they will take out Palos. They'll look over. The Shackle doesn't connect, but it's still a full team wipe for the side of 496. Vice Are they going to call it? Is it time to pack it up?
I think, you know, I've been in these situations many, many times. I feel the longer you stay in these kind of games, of course it's the last game, you know, if you lose this series is over, but this is causing a lot of damage mentally, you know? Like, nobody likes this, obviously, and it's not something you should put yourself through. This is a pretty unwinnable spot at this point, so, but they want to play it out, you know, can't blame them for it. Last chance they have in the series, might make it work, you know. Crazier things have happened. Yeah, let's just put it that way. Maybe if they, you know, want to like play around, dive the fountain or whatever. But this is what has to happen at this point, honestly. Like they're not losing if they play it straight.
Gotta go for broke, telekinesis.
In the fountain, there we are. But Ghost had the purchase right away. The pop experience coming in.
And then he's just gonna roll. He's got the magnetize. I mean, he tried to kill me by throwing me in your well. And all of a sudden, in your well, you get killed by a power shot.
They're just bullying them now.
Lasso onto the Void Spirit. They'll get control. They'll take him out once again. Bob falling.
Yep.
Once more.
This feels very much like my pub game yesterday.
Crippling Fear, Silence coming out. They've got the Spirit Vessel on the Night Stalker, kicked away, killed off. Winter's Curse on a Palace as well as the Tusk. They're basically stepping on the door saying, you could end this, just say GG, or we'll go for the Rampage.
Nice.
Rampage on the Windrunner. That's what they wanted. And they got it.
They're even tipping him. The enemy team is tipping him too.
Wow. Gonna make them work for it.
They do not like to give up. I mean, it's commendable.
Yeah.
But you know, like, I mean,
Hung 23 kills, 2 deaths, 28 assists. If my math is correct, that is 50. Well, now 52 kills of the 59. That is so much kill participation in a game where you've got almost 60.
Yeah. And we said 40k last game was a lot of goal difference. Now it's close to 50.
Get the other tier 4.
Yep. Slowly hit the throne down.
And now it's time to take the throne. 3v5. Do we see anything left from Vice? Potentially. The Crippling Fear comes in, but the Ancient not going to live long enough for this to matter. They do end up taking out the Windrunner at the end of the day, but that is it for Vice. 2-0 for 496. That looked really smooth. I was really impressed by 496 overall. That was 2 games where their game plan was executed pretty much perfectly.
Yeah, I think in mid-game. Before mid-game, they were struggling quite a bit.
Yeah.
Vice was responding amazingly to the aggression of 496, you know? But I don't know what happened. Like, after that one fight top, it felt like some switch flipped, and suddenly they were trickling in one by one again, like in game 1, you know? And like, if they just kept up the performance from the early game, I think they would have had a really good shot at this because they were snowballing already. But 496's aggression, too much again.
Yeah, they
you can't stop them.
Really well, pretty much perfectly. That's the 2-0 over Vice. That's our only series of the day. We're going to throw it over to the birthday boy, Nomad, and the rest of the analysts over there. Back to you, birthday boy. Take it away.
Happy birthday.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Enough, he's already
I hate
feeling
this.
awkward.
I hate
already
this.
done
Yeah,
this.
that was the worst thing I've ever experienced. But no, thank you very much, guys. Yeah, my birthday, and celebrating it with a Vietnamese victory over Vice Esports there as they transom. Clean 2-0 from them. They got to be feeling good. You know, guys, break down that game for me. What on earth just happened?
We kind of expected 496 to take this victory at the beginning. Bombi, all about Bombi and that BB. That's what we were talking about. But man, this second draft, yeah, sure, you can win the early game, but I don't know how you end this game. You buy a Helm of Dominator 2 on Wisp. Why? Because you don't have a carry. So you hope that Thunderhide is going to win the game for you.
It's just no synergy that we mentioned during the panel before the game, where like Io doesn't have that partner. Like he can't amplify the heal, he can't give that spell damage. Who's he giving that to? Like your mid laner, Void Spirit, he's really not benefiting from that. And the Night Stalker, position 3, he wasn't that farmed. So you're kind of having a hero that wants to play with someone, but does not have anyone to play with.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
Poor guy. But no, that was... I mean, they looked good for a bit, though, Vice Esports. Had a laning phase, they had a bit of an advantage. Like 4K, I think it got up to one point. You know, part of me was like maybe, but then they couldn't team fight.
First, let's say 15 minutes, I think Vice made some really nice rotations. When you think about it, you have Night Stalker who's level 4. Like, what is he doing on mid? But he's putting so much pressure. He understands that Wyvern is really not that strong at that point. But like this fight here and the one after is really is the breaking point of the game, where Earthbreaker just gets in, gets a 5-man magnetized, that shackle to set things up. Like Bombi had some really nice Winter's Curses, some really nice heals, mostly for himself.
A happy boy.
Yeah, and when you're playing Wisp, like as a carry, you want to be playing it versus heroes that aren't that mobile and can get on top of you. This Weaver didn't have a good game early on, but he still manages to be such a nuisance for a Wisp carry. So I don't know, if you open up that early with it, I think you could round your draft up in a different way, maybe even relegate that Wisp to support and pick an additional core that's decent versus bad, because the lane went well, sure, but it's going to fall apart eventually.
I was a bit worried because Weaver went for Force Staff, like a Dragon Lance, thought they were going to lack damage a bit, but Force Staff really is a good item here where you don't necessarily need to commit for an earlier BKB. You're playing into Night Stalker, so like BKB sounds like a better idea, much safer, but also against the Tusk. Hands-off keyboard, like, I love that. Clap for himself.
Yeah, you know, celebrate every victory, no matter how small. It's a great mentality to have, and you know, these guys are smiling. They're having a good time. Yeah. Vice are just here to play some dotes. Yeah. They don't really, you know, they're not having unrealistic expectations going into this series. They know how strong 496 are, and they are on that hot streak as well. So they're just enjoying the ride, you know, not GGing, probably because they're just having fun, playing some dotes. That's the game they're here to play, and they don't care if they're winning or losing.
Invited teams like the big names should be worried, you know. They're probably watching this match. They're like, yeah, man, these 496 guys, they're really, really good. Like, the way they move around the map, how many heroes they need to bring to take down certain heroes in a team fight. Everything's on point. Like, the first 10-15 minutes of this game were a bit shaky, but they still, you know, with the correct decision-making, managed to make a good comeback.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 496 as well. 3 series in a row, just 2 zeros, looking really good through them all. Like, nice buttery Dota from them. You know, they're like a nice, well-made scone. Meanwhile, I think our boys over on Vice, you know, they're still in the oven a little bit. They're not quite cooked yet. They're not quite risen, but maybe one day they'll start to get a bit of rise, a bit of puff in their pastry, and hopefully we'll see them coming back later on in the league. And, you know, as we keep saying, these leagues are a good opportunity for these teams to improve. You know, they get to play every single week. You can form a good schedule. You're looking back on your last game. You can scrim in between, and you can really try hard to improve. What were the fundamental problems from Vice Esports in this series that you'd like to see them improve on for next week?
It's difficult to say. From the first game, obviously, and from the second, the first and obvious problem is the draft, and that's something that any analyst on the world would say. Like, in that first game, Troll was a much better pick. In the second game, you don't truly have a combo with the Wisp. And there's just many problems, from the item decisions that they went for in the first game and in the second game, to the way that they lane, to the way that they rotate across the map. Some of these rotations, I'm going to sound mean, but make no sense at all in the game. Like, why are you rotating towards your safe lane at like minute 9 when your bottom lane Venomancer needs to help pressuring the tier 1 of the enemy team and things like that? It's there's just a lot of things that they have to improve on, but if anything, they have proven to us that they can take the laning stage from teams such as 496 in this match, and that's the fundamental, right? Work on that and work off of that.
Yeah, well, MVP for this match. I mean, honorable mentions have to be Bombi, but our MVP for this one is going to be Hung Hung, having such a dominant performance in that middle lane in the first game.
For sure,
and
man.
Having some fun on the Wind Ranger.
Just because he got the Rampage doesn't make him an MVP. You know, he played well. Hung
His kill
really,
punches. I mean, 24 kills, this guy. Come on. He was having some fun. Yeah. Hung Hung.
Not even same amount of kills as his level. That's kind of meh. By the way, did you guys know that today is the 21st day of the 21st year of the 21st century?
Yep, and I'm 21 as well, so
No, you're not.
No, you're not. You wish.
I tried. I tried. Well, I mean, that's closing up our thoughts on today's match and this series. You know, one more thing I'd like to say about 496 as well, and one thing which I noticed they do really well is they seem to plan to lose a lane. And I think that's really important. Like, they're actually ready for one of these heroes to fall behind. I'm talking about the Ursa in game 1 and game number 2, I think the Weaver as well. Both of them had rough times.
And the Bat and the kind of the Wind Ranger too, they plan to lose all 3. It worked out, man. Like, that's what I plan in every of my
these
games.
These heroes, though, like, they have an idea on how they want to come back into the game. You know, Weaver, he could just press his spells. He doesn't really need that much in order to come online and do stuff with his team. And I think that's kind of key, because if you're running an aggressive team, and then a part of your plan doesn't work out in the laning phase, it can be really difficult to find that momentum.
So that's what I'm missing. So that's what I'm missing. After losing the lanes, I need to press my spells.
Press your spells. Exactly right. Pick heroes which can press their spells.
I'll try that in my pubs today. If I do lose
let
MMR,
us know.
yeah, you'll be...
Okay, well, yeah, never hold me responsible for your MMR, Lizard, otherwise you are going down to the trenches, my friend. But, of course, we have our standings and how things look. Obviously, not much has changed, but just to give you guys a bit of an update, we now have 3 teams at the top of the upper division and 3 teams down at the bottom. That's right, 496 are going to join the upper echelons of Fnatic and Neon in those top 3 teams. Meanwhile, we have Execration and TNC yet to play. Meanwhile, on the other side of the bracket, we got Army Geniuses, Hoyo, Omega Esports and Signal Ultra, all with a win under their belt, and then again 0-2, those poor guys at the bottom. But you know, they got to live up to their name. I love it. They're staying on brand, and that's important. So 0-2 down at the bottom with 0-2 and Galaxy Racer and Yangon as well, both at 0-1 with Signal. With just one more team in the lower division yet to play. Alrighty, guys. Well, it's going to start to close things out for today. The last question I want to ask you, though, 496, you know, we've seen them absolutely destroy today. They've looked really good through the qualifiers. Where would you place them in the power rankings?
I already said, like, the invited teams, T1, Fnatic, TNC, they need to be worried, because I feel like if they keep playing like this, they are definitely a team that can go to the major.
If they're in their zone, if you give them their heroes like this Night Stalker mid and Age Prophet offlane, they look unstoppable. And it's been proven throughout history, from Wings, from MVP Phoenix, from OG, even the teams that play this aggressive Dota playstyle, that play it crisp and properly, they can take down anyone. So, sure, but I would rank them somewhere like Neon. Like, I think they're on par. I want to see these 2 teams actually match it up.
Alrighty, well, let's have a look at the upcoming schedule, because of course there's plenty more Dota to be played, plenty more matches, in fact a bunch of weeks.
There you go.
And here we go, yeah, TNC Predator versus Execration, the 2 teams which are yet to play will be playing next, and then we have Neon Esports versus 496 playing, and that is of course on the 23rd of January, so a couple of days time to wait for that one. But those are going to be some really exciting games. I mean, TNC obviously looking very dominant. It's going to be exciting to watch them play. And Neon Esports versus 496, you know, again, these 2 teams which went through the qualifiers, but both looking very good. I do think 496 have the edge, but Neon could be one of the teams to kind of fight up against them. And I think those 2 teams are kind of fighting for 3rd place currently in these very, very early stages, because Boom didn't look so hot, and Neon and 496 both coming out with a win. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting watching those 2 teams play up against each other. Alrighty, guys, we're rounding out to the end of the day. What have we learned? Because you learn something new every day. What have we learned today, Lacoste?
That's a good question, Nomad. We've learned that 496 can play some really, really good Dota, like they swap some players out, but definitely a team that I'm looking forward to see more of, and looking like a team that can make a lot of upsets if they keep just playing like this. And same goes for Neon. Like Neon, also team, we didn't see too many of their games, but just by judging the way they play, the way they move around the map, I would call them pretty even, like 496 and Neon at the moment.
Alrighty, Lizard?
No, I learned nothing.
Okay.
It's like every other day. I try to, but it just doesn't work out. I just enjoyed some good Dotes, talked about it a little bit, and that's pretty much it. I'm looking forward to watching more 496, and this Neon matchup, for me, that's really what shows which one of these teams have that real shot for any of the top 3 places.
Alrighty, guys. Well, do not forget to tune in on the 23rd for that matchup. And, of course, the other series of TNC versus Execration as well. But from us here in the studio from PGL, we're going to be saying goodbye. Tune in next time for more DPC SEA action. Of course, tomorrow for some DPC China action. And, of course, there's also a DPC CIS coming up later, and DPC Europe and SA. And there's so much Dota happening right now. You'll find something to watch. So jump over to one of those channels. But from us, it's going to be goodbye. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Happy birthday.